Okay, yes. Welcome to another edition of the New Jack Swing podcast. Myself, Mr. VJ, Stevie Street, and the Dark Knight himself, Andrew Knight. How are the three of you guys doing?
Good evening, folks.
Good
Good evening. Good evening.
We've
Or
got,
good day to you, or good morning, wherever in the world you're catching up on this right now.
yes. We're all in different parts. Alex Clark, he's a massive Darkchild fan. Welcome, Alex. Yes, how we've got an amazing show today where we are doing Battle of Producers Volume 2 and 3 sets of producers. I wonder if we should have put in Missy Elliott alongside Timbaland, but I think she was credited for a lot of the good lyrics, but nothing can take away the beats and stuff. She and Emily, welcome.
Yep.
It is 4:30 Eastern. Okay. Alex, we're doing good. So yes, it was an interesting list to put together. How did you guys find it? I found it quite fun and quite a challenge, and actually a lot more appreciative of how the three camps put their stuff together. And Mac, welcome. VJ, can start with you. How did you find this exercise?
I found it very difficult, not because we don't have songs to choose from. It's because we have too many songs to choose from. If you took any one of these producers, just one of them, and just did a top 15 for them, that would have been super challenging. So to whittle that down to top 5 for each of them and then rearrange them, I found that tough. Very tough. But hey, I've done it. We've done it. So that's the main.
You've done it, yes. I have to apologize to everyone because I got the dates wrong when it came to. So we'd already booked today for the Joe Thomas. In fact, sorry, not for Joe Thomas, for this Battle of Producers, and Joe Thomas was supposed to be Sunday. I kind of mispromoted things, but so tomorrow is Joe Thomas. Today is Battle of Producers, and it was definitely a challenge. Stevie, how did you find it? Brando, welcome.
It's an interesting one because I'm thinking if we compare the songs we picked for the last set of producers,
Teddy, Jimmy Jam, and
I'm sure we'd all agree, or
Babyface.
maybe you might disagree, but I think a lot of those songs mean a lot more to us than I would say on this one. I'm looking at the list and I'm thinking a lot of my memories of these tracks, they're all club memories, stuff that I've heard in clubs. Well, a lot of them, I'd say 70% of my top 15 is hanging out in a club, either playing these as like DJ promo 12 inches, hearing them in a club, or just solid album tracks. But I'm thinking now, with the sands of time, how much these tracks really mean something to me. I know that the last set produced, them tracks mean everything to me. Because you got to remember, these 3 sets of producers crossed over from R&B into pop in the later years. They're all making pop music. They might have hip hop beats underneath them, but essentially they're working with pop artists, and they took the money. Let's have it right. They all took the money. And I realised a lot of the really, really good stuff from these producers is the early stuff and when they were getting busy making stuff. After it all went pop. So, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, a lot of club memory, good club memories for me on this.
Definitely. Timmy Lee, welcome. Andrew, what about you? How did you find?
So it's funny. I remember being a bit profane in our chats when Beej reminded us it was one artist, period. I couldn't have the same artist across both producers. I was I'm like Timbaland, Neptunes, what? So I remember being a little like sure about that, but I calmed down and like followed suit. But I think for me, the biggest like lament, and I want to talk about this as we go through, is I think that a lot of Rodney's work, in particular for Brandy, I just felt like, man, to just only have one Brandy song by Rodney when Rodney did an amazing body of work for Brandy, that was a match made in heaven, in my opinion, was the hardest part. So I'm just gonna go through my top 15, but then go off script and just give Rodney love, because I think that a lot of his work on Never Say Never and Full Moon absolutely deserves to be mentioned on this podcast.
Yeah, I think and for anyone joining in, so we've got the three producers, and part of the rules for our stuff is that we have to have a minimum of 5 tracks per producer and to rank in our top 15. But we also it was important that we didn't just say, okay, let's just imagine if you just get one album by by Michael Jackson and just put all his 5 tracks, and it doesn't show the vast catalog that each of these producers had. And so you couldn't have SWV with the Neptunes and SWV with Timbaland, or Total with both sets of producers. We wanted to be able to show the catalog and make it a little bit more challenging. So that is definitely part of it. I would say that one of the strategies I used was, the first thing I did was to get my top, each producer. I said, hey, let me just get my 5-6 songs per producer, and then I kind of ranked it out. I think I already had my number 1 track. I knew it was my number 1, and some of my top 3, and then I had to play around with some of the others as well. Melodic Welcome. But there's one thing that also threads these 3 camps together. What are your thoughts of what the thread that weaves the 3 of them together?
Virginia Beach, Teddy Riley.
Yes, they all 3 were part of the Teddy Riley school. So I was very surprised. Well, I mean, Rodney has spoken about when he was there with the Neptunes, because if you remember, the Neptunes were there working on the Rex and Effect, and as well as the Davey Blackstreet album, and then some of those remixes. So Rodney was seeing these guys there, but what I didn't realize was that Timbaland and Missy were also in the Future Studios at the same time. So when I spoke to Carl Groove Martin from Shy, because Shy were supposed to be signed to Teddy as well. They were out in Virginia Beach. He was going to sign them to one of his many production stuff, but he just had so much going on that he just dropped. He just couldn't. They got a better deal and stuff. But they said when they were in Virginia, they Missy, Timbaland, everyone was just going through. So just imagine the rich talent that he had passing through there. So it is, so they're all from the same, same age, same stuff.
Yeah, and I remember reading Timbaland's autobiography or bio, either way, and I learned of a group called SBI. I love the name of the group and what it stands for. So Timbaland and Pharrell in the group, SBI stood for Surrounded by Idiots. Like, that was the name of the group. So we're just like here in Virginia Beach doing our thing, trying to make music, but we have all these idiots around me. So we got to just circle up and just hone in and do what we got to do. So I love that, in so many examples, like in life, people tend to come up together, whether you're talking about Christopher Reeve and Robin Williams being roommates, or Motown all, being from the same neighborhood, that kind of thing. Like, it's just so cool when you see people just kind of come up and blow up, and maybe they stay together, maybe they stay apart, but at least they had that common, germinating ground, that nest, that incubation. So I think that's dope.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yes. And while we're doing this, it'd be good to mention some of the, because Alex mentioned LaShawn Daniels, who was very instrumental to a lot of the Rodney production and writing as well. Sadly passed away in an accident. All right. Okay. Before we start, does anyone have anything to say around Billboard's top R&B artists, the top 75 or so? the manager of Michael Parlin, who's the manager of Charlie Wilson, wasn't too happy about the list because Charlie Wilson was omitted from it.
He's on the phone now.
But does anyone have any?
Phone now. Don't forget his gripes out.
So, did anyone see the list and have any thoughts of it?
I shared it. And I think that those kinds of lists are mad subjective, and it was the editors of Billboard. So I would love to just kind of see a room of who they were and whatever. That said, I didn't completely hate the list, but I almost feel like lists like that are a bit, especially if it's just the editors, it's like, that's just your opinion, baby. Like who cares, you know? But that's my thought on it. I remember I was okay with Stevie being number one, though. I think Stevie was a legend, you know? Okay. But then seeing Prince so far down, that was a little weird. But I was just going to say, even worse, I don't even bother hip hop lists. Forget it, dude. Everyone, it's like they say opinions are like a-holes. Everyone has one. And when it comes to hip hop, it's like Immortal Technique or Jay-Z sucks or like, dude, I don't even care. I like left hip hop a long time ago as far as trying to talk about it critically. It's like, because everyone's got an opinion and I just can't, I don't have time for it. But anyway, going back to the R&B list, it's a list. Whatever. Who cares? I mean, yeah, that's how I say it. As far as Billboard is concerned. We love you, Billboard, but
yeah. They're subjective lists. It's like saying, you know, you get those lists that you see on Instagram. This is categorically the best. These are categorically the best looking women on planet Earth. And you're like, dude, these are the best looking women in your head. That's fine. But then that's your list, isn't it? And for Billboard, it's the same thing. These are their lists. Prince not being there is like being so low down the list was madness. Now, if you're basing it off Billboard success, which is what Charlie Wilson's guy was saying, Charlie Wilson should be way up there because Charlie Wilson is still relevant. He's found a way to reinvent himself consistently, and he's still about. So he should definitely be way up there. And I understand why people would be aggrieved about Beyonce, but Beyonce, not my cup of tea, but she sold a lot of copies. She sold a lot of music, and she's very popular. So maybe I'm too old to have a fair voice for somebody like Beyonce, but for me, I wouldn't have her that high up. But she does.
How do you compile a list like that? Because say you went out to the normies in the street and you said to them, "Name your top 5 R&B artists," and the majority they'll say Beyonce because they know who Beyonce is. If you said, well, why didn't you put Charlie Wilson in there? They're going to go, who? The average normie out there doesn't even know who Charlie Wilson is.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, but then if you think
we're R&B fanatics, but so how do you compile this list? What's it based on? Is it based on record sales? Is it based on how big the artist is? How well known?
Influential they were? Like Marvin Gaye was.
Where was Michael Jackson in the list?
Oh, he was
number 3.
He was number 3.
Number 3. Stevie Wonder was number 1. Who was number 2?
Aretha Franklin.
Michael Jackson was number 3. Where was Prince?
Yeah,
like in the 20s or something like that. It was in the high teens or early 20s from memory.
Where was Marvin Gaye?
Marvin Gaye was far down.
Number 10.
Oh, was
Marvin
he 10?
Gaye was 10.
So who were the top 5 then?
Beyonce was 5.
Yeah.
Then it was. I know Michael was 3. 2 was
Aretha Franklin. I don't know who was number 4.
Aretha Franklin. Number 1 was Stevie, and I think Whitney.
Well, there you go. If you go into any, like a HMV or a big commercial record store, and you go, they're the top rate. You go in each set, they're the top rated artists. So that doesn't surprise me in the slightest that they made the top 5. They're the big sellers. Yeah, Michael Jackson, Whitney, Stevie Wonder. Beyonce, they're all the big album sellers.
All right, let me read it. Okay, so from 10 to 1, Marvin Gaye 10, R. Kelly, Kells 9, and I feel like Marvin behind Kells, I don't know. Anyway, Mariah Carey 8. Oh, actually, my bad, but I still was surprised. Prince is 7, James Brown is 6, Whitney's 5, Beyonce's 4, Michael's 3, Aretha 2, and Stevie 1. But then you got Ray Charles, Usher at 12. Oh, I remember that Okay, I was surprised Usher was ahead. I was like, this is like the first list I've seen Usher ahead of Chris Brown, finally, because I always see people like ranking Chris Brown over Usher, including Bobby, which like Bobby did that. And I'm just kind of like, what? Like, no, man, Usher's that dude. But anyway, Mary J. Blige at 16, Janet at 17. You know, Tevin
How is Luther? How is Luther behind
Luther 22?
Mary J. Blige. I love Mary, but surely that's not right.
Yeah. So I mean, so that we don't get distracted. I mean, but it's a debate that we'll definitely have because, but it's just, I would say just finally that if it's Vibe magazine, I would probably appreciate what they would do. You know, those types of magazine, Vibe or Black Beat or Right On, would speak for the people a lot better than Billboard. Is it Billboard or Rolling Stone that said "Lady in My Life"? She was the worst.
It was Rolling Stone, and that told you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was different.
Fire him or her, whoever that was.
Yeah, Luther was 22. Yeah. Anyway, so producer list. But
hold on, did it have any New Jack Swing artist in the list? Was Guy in it? Johnny Gill?
Aaron
Keith Sweat is number
Bobby Brown.
Keith Sweat.
Bobby Brown was number 49.
Okay.
Tevin Campbell's 57. Joe is 56.
Keith Sweat is 66.
Bobby Brown, yeah, he said 49. He's in here. Bobby's in here. Wait, Bobby's in here, but no Johnny. That's interesting.
But then I can understand that. I mean, there's a lot of artists. I mean, personally, Johnny is Johnny in our heads, but Bobby, obviously, social impact. He should be in there.
Babyface is at 35.
Bobby's top 30. His top 30. He's got to be in the top 30 for me.
Yeah, massive influence.
Yeah. And Donna Summers was not an R&B artist. She was disco. Yeah.
You know what's crazy?
But anyway,
Bobby Brown. We are distracted. I'm sorry, but Bobby Brown's ahead of John Legend. You know, that's interesting because John Legend can blow, but Bobby's ahead of him. So oh well.
I'd put him above Chris Brown. There's some controversy for you.
Chris Brown, where's he at? Chris Brown's at number 26.
Aaliyah's at 40. Yeah. Brandy's at 41. D'Angelo's 45.
Yeah,
I mean, in there, right? Is anybody that they've left out? Is there any glaring omissions?
Charlie Wilson.
Well, Charlie Wilson influenced Aaron Hall, and Aaron Hall influenced R. Kelly.
Charlie Wilson not being in his madness, it just doesn't make any sense.
Get the manager on the phone. No wonder he's going. I don't blame him. Jeez.
Joe at number 56. Tevin Campbell at 57. And
there was no KC.
Nope.
Anthony Hamilton at 62.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? Again, Janet Jackson, I love her, right? But at 17, so put Janet Jackson vocally over, like, I don't know, like
Otis Redding.
Yeah, Phyllis Hyman, like,
wow,
Lauryn Hill, like, yeah, man, just saying. Alicia Keys, even, like.
But Janet's had more impact, surely. Like, she's had a massive impact.
This must
We're
be
talking about R&B, though. R&B.
Because if you mention Beyonce or any of those artists of that level, they've all had the red carpet rolled out for them because of Miss Janet Jackson. If it wasn't for Janet Jackson, they would not be in that conversation point in the first place. They just wouldn't be around. Janet Jackson.
Any pop artists in there like Jennifer Lopez? Any like that just shouldn't be in there? So,
Jennifer Lopez. No. They I think they've learned their lesson from that one. But anyway, Anyway, it's one day we probably could do one of these kind of polls and stuff. We'll see how it goes. But I mean, we've got 35 tracks to go, 45 to go through. So. Okay, guys, remember this is some Aldebard wasn't on this, but remember this is you guys are part of tonight's episode. We're going through these three producers, 5 tracks that they produce each, and we're going to rank them in our top 15. So please have your 15 to 1. Remember, you can't have any duplicate artists, so you can't have Mary twice or whatnot. As always, I start VJ Stevie, then we round up with Andrew Knight. So on my list, so from number 15 on my list, I went with a track that when it came out in 1999, I got the dates for everything. It was one of those, was it one of their earlier stuff? It was one of their earlier records that sort of introduced us to a very different type of sound and production. This track felt like they were like, almost like gumbo. Like, let's try some of this sound. Let's try this type of sound. But it was a very interesting sort of unique, and it was by Khalees. It was our introduction to Khalees, and it's caught out there by the Neptunes. And why I say that is because it was one of those things where she was. I didn't get the song. I didn't understand, the message behind about the song until later on. But the production really stood out to me. You had a boom, 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 boom. It's almost as if let's press this button, see what it does, and let's press this button. So it was definitely a really interesting production, and it actually became the signature Neptunes production that we learned. And one some other songs that I'm going to put up there, you realize actually they didn't start off like that. So caught out there by the Neptunes, Khalees, 1999 is number 15 for me. Khalees was robbed. Yeah, well, we'll go into the politics later, but yeah. Go ahead, VJ.
So I wanted to ask you, Namdi. I have a list of artists and songs that I cannot include. Would you like me to say that now, or would you like me to say that later?
Probably at the end, sort of with these.
Okay, there's a list of, and these songs definitely need to be mentioned, so we can do that later. This missed out on my number 16. Michael Jackson doesn't make my top 15 list even, which is surprising. But at number 16, I was toying around with Escape, Break of Dawn, and You Rock My World. Any one of them would have been a good inclusion. But what I've gone with at number 15 was a Blackstreet track, which was first appeared on this soundtrack, Wild Wild West, with production by Teddy Riley and Rodney Jerkins, and it's called Confused. Brilliant song, absolutely love it. I think it's a flawless production, and that makes my number 15. It's samples the Crusaders' Covert Action from 1978.
Interesting pick. I've not listened to that since I probably bought that CD, to be honest, VJ.
I love it. I love it. And it's a great song.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hardcore.
Stevie, what's your 15?
And one of the few handful of tracks that Teddy and Rodney did together. And I thought those two as a combination was just.
I need to really listen to it. Like I said, not
very special combination. Those two together.
That the track by Men of Vision. I think it was Do Things or something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, go ahead, Stevie.
At number 15, it's a Neptunes production, and as well as my club memories of that sound around the early 2000s, I thought, do they still sound good now? I'm always looking for tracks that stand the test of time, because a lot of those Neptunes productions now, especially them club tracks, the drums just sound too heavy. They just creak. I'm like, oh, it's a bit creaky sounding. But this track surprised me when I replayed it again. I thought, wow, this still sounds amazing now. And it's from 2002. It's the latest. I didn't really get past 2002, if I'm honest. It comes from LL Cool J, from his 10 album, features Mark Dorsey, and it's called Love You Better. It's a mid-tempo. Like I say, the production on it stood the test of time. Mark Dorsey's vocals are pretty outstanding, and LL Cool J does his slick love rap. So
it's very good. It's brilliant, brilliant,
very well done track. So that's number 15.
And that was Jackie McGee's former husband, Mark Dorsey, the father of her two older kids, Mark Dorsey. Yeah, that's Jackie's. No, definitely a good one. Yeah. Okay. Some left field. I'm sure we're gonna have. Yeah, it's gonna be. We may have. I would be surprised if we have 5 or 6 that are similar. Go ahead, Knight.
All right. So gigantic asterisks for this next situation. So yeah, of the three camps, I know the least about Rodney for sure. So I struggled a little bit to make sure the Rodney list was representative, and I was trying to avoid inclusion of this group, but I had to include them. So the background is it was the year 2000. The group was a pretty big group. There was 5 of them, but then a red-haired one got her big head and decided to leave, so they were only left with 4. So they came back with an album. It was a foursome. I believe the video took place in a desert or something like that, and it was kind of R&B-ish. And the song was called Holler by the Spice Girls, produced by Rodney Jerkins. I was trying to avoid having the Spice Girls in my list, but I mean, after the one artist rule, I was like, and I almost put Janet Jackson's Love It or Love or something like that instead. But I was like, Andrew, like, you've always been real. Like, don't just like put that one in because you don't want to put the Spice Girls. Don't be a hater. So holla, 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 come on, holla, 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 come on, is number 15.
Get him a one-way train ticket to the desert, will you, for that pitch? Don't come back, sir, please, don't come back.
Oh, goodness.
Shocking, absolutely shocking.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Britney Spears' Slave, just to throw in the Neptunes deck.
My lips are sealed on that one.
And Chin Beats is asking a question: did Darkchild produce Full Moon? I think that was Mike City.
Yeah, that was Mike City.
Yeah,
well,
Mike
he
City
produced the album though. The album was Darkchild, but Mike City did Full Moon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And with that, he's gone.
Okay, so
he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, he's
left the building.
He's left the building. Yeah.
I'm in the desert.
He's in the desert.
Hey, come to Papa. All right, I'm back, y'all. Just had to get more libation.
Yeah, at number 14 for me was the only. Well, of course, I could only have one track by this artist, but it's hard not to see them as dynamic duo. But it was it's Missy, and it was a 2001 track, and I had to think about all the tracks that she did with Timbo. Which of them did I think was my favorite? And this is one of the things that I think that when you're listening to Timbaland production is that he takes the most obscure thing and just turns it into a hit. So this is when he took I think it was like a Hindi track and Get Your Freak On by Missy and Timbaland. It's this is Timbaland's first entry on this, but it was just and this is when Missy doing her crazy videos. But as I said, just the whole production there, it was hard not to start to dance alongside them and Missy with her words and stuff like that. But Timbaland, this is I think of all these guys here, Timbaland is one person that just listen to his instrumentals. You're just gonna be like, okay, this he's just too much. Get Your Freak On, number 14, came out in 2001. Missy and Timbaland. That
was the period where there was a lot of like Indian Bhangra going on in R&B and hip hop, and it was a thing for a summer. I remember car driving by that crazy sound, but kind of irritating me, to be honest. Irritates
a lot of
me.
Bollywood samples.
Yeah.
But that was Timbo. That's what he would do. He would listen to something simple and just experiment. Mm-hmm. I think he did it better than most people. I think he did it better than most people. Yeah. And Aaliyah with the baby crap.
And the Godzilla with Genuine on that. What's so different? The Godzilla is just like.
Cool. Wah, wah, wah. I mean, yeah. So it's I think these are three good. These are three good producers, and they all did something different. Yeah, VJ.
He's froze.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if he was just in deep thoughts and stuff like that. I was like, Okay. We're waiting for VJ to come back to it, but just reading some of these things. The red
Who's
golden
hurt? I
child
was
says
trying to
now
remember
missing
that
out
one.
bed Timbaland cuts. Everyone using the ambient samples back then. Truth
Yes.
Hurts, yeah. Who produced that? Was that Drake?
No,
So
that was
addictive.
Who's Hurts was what's his name? What's his name? Oh man, that guy, the West Coast guy.
DJ Quick.
Thank you. Yes, DJ Quick.
Oh, quick. Okay.
Yeah, good job.
Okay. Play musical chairs. All right, VJ, we just thought you were lost in thought.
No,
but-
no, I was just like that action shot.
Yeah. So come on, what's your
My
number
14 is similar to Andrew's number 15. He didn't want to include it, but he did, and because he likes it. I like this song. I don't listen to very much.
Oh no!
Oh.
Damn it!
What's happening today?
He needs to reboot, doesn't he? He needs to reboot. Something's going on.
Or maybe go on his phone.
So VJ is telling us "Holler" by the Spice Girls. That was what because that was your 15, right, Andrew?
Yeah. Or it could have been
Okay.
Britney. I think he was trying to say a song that he didn't want to include, but
Oh, he didn't want to
maybe it was
include.
Backstreet
Okay.
Boys or something. Rodney did some NSYNC and back. Oh, he's back. Yo. you're
Okay,
back.
go ahead, VJ.
I don't know what's going on with the connection today. My apologies. Yes, I was saying Jennifer Lopez is "If You Had My Love" from 1999. I really didn't want to include it because it's Jennifer Lopez, and I don't listen to Jennifer Lopez. But, and I'll be honest, I listen to the instrumental a lot. So there's no vocals. And I think this production is stunning.
Yeah, it was the best track. It was one of the best tracks.
And Namdi, you put something up the other day about the Shantae Moore track. That was the original version of this.
Yes.
Yes. This is a better song. It is a much better song. It's more well written.
You're cursed today. Maybe he's got to go audio only. That might help.
No, I just think he needs a reboot. That's it. I think it'll be fine after a reboot and his IP address is reset. I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, and for those who are wondering what he was saying, so Shantae Moore had a track with Rodney called "I Gave My Love" or something like that, and the rumor was Puffy heard it and said, "Oh man, okay, he's joined on a different stream, I think." Okay, so I'm going to. Okay, I'm going to keep you
His
up there.
his twin
What's
brothers
happening?
joined.
Yeah, but also froze.
Oh, he just froze
Yes.
again. Okay.
Oh, he's back. Sort of.
Oh, yeah. There you are. Okay. All right. Are you dead? Okay, Veej. Wow, this is
This has never happened, y'all. This is
yeah.
Let me just send him a message.
Okay. Yeah. So it seems as if Rodney had the same type of song kind of stuff for J-Lo, and Shantae's concern was that actually, it was supposed to be her second single, and Rodney and J-Lo had it and blew up, and so it affected her sales. But I think the truth be told is J-Lo was the replacement of Mariah Carey, and Sony put in millions of dollars in making her a hit. So, and Shantae was on Silas Records. They weren't going to spend that much. Go ahead, VJ. It looks like you're back from the dead.
That's it. I'm not going to say anything and jinx anything. I don't want to say anything. I just wanted to about "If I Had My Love." It was sampled in 10 songs, including Drake's "Teenage Fever" from 2017. That's it. That's my 14. Sorry for that technical, whatever the hell that was.
I didn't realize that you were still using AOL dial-up in 2025, but hey, it looks like he's still using AOL dial-up.
Seriously, he needs. I've tried to tell him he needs a reboot badly.
Yeah. Anyway, Stevie, go ahead.
Number 14. There is actually two versions, two different style productions of this. One's on the artist album and one's on a soundtrack. But VJ, reboot your laptop, because I think we should reboot it. I think you'll have a stronger connection then, and it'll be
all right.
The address will be on.
I'm leaving you for 2 or 3 songs. Talk away, and I'll see you.
To reboot.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll be back.
See you in a bit.
Go ahead, Stevie.
There's 2 different productions of this, but it's the production that came out on a soundtrack in 1999. The soundtrack was Blue Streak. It's a Rodney Jerkins production, and it's Keith Sweat and Debrat, and it's called "I Put You On." I remember heavily playing this in a club, and it's got one of the heaviest bass drums you'll ever hear on an R&B track. Nearly blew the speakers up, the bass drum. But yeah, it's a bit of a forgotten track, but I used to love listening to this. So 1999, Keith Sweat, "I Put You On." Replay that if you get a chance. By Rodney Darkchild.
I've heard that one. Okay, goodness, we're bringing out the gems today.
Speaking of gems,
I was working at Lowry Sound Studios, bumping Shantae Moore's version during that time. That's hopeful.
If you get Keith Sweat's album though, the production, the track's on there, but the production's different. They redid it. I don't know why, but just done.
Okay.
The Red Golden Child.
What about you?
Play that song every month. Wow. Fair play to you.
Uncle Stevie.
Thanks, Zach.
Good chase, Zach. Well done. Okay.
Uncle NG. All right. So this should have been the 3rd single for this album, in my opinion. So this album's 3rd single, I think, was "Whatever Happens," but I also think that "Change the World" was played on the radio, at least in the US. But no, my number 14 is "Break of Dawn," Michael Jackson, produced by Rodney Jerkins. I think it was a crime there was not a video for the song or anything, because that was Michael Jackson getting back in his R&B bag. And it pained me to not put other songs from the album on here. But "Break of Dawn" is a triumph. And yeah, if you haven't heard "Break of Dawn," I'm sure everybody here has, but if you haven't, you need to listen, because it was like, yeah, that was the one. So that's my 14.
Okay, dude,
let me see. I'm just 2 Rodney Jerkins picks then. So you gone from Spice Girls to Michael Jackson. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a big leap. Big leap, that one.
But only 1 year apart.
Wow.
Figure that. 2001, 2000. Yeah.
Now, I do wonder about that particular track, because it's let me see the track listing, because I thought
Teddy was on there.
Yeah, it was, but see, yeah, it had actually it lists Teddy and Dr. Freeze, so I do wonder how that.
Oh, Andrew, nice, Andrew, nice. You know, all these.
Rodney's the writer, but
Jerkins didn't even do.
Hold on a second.
Hold on. What is going on tonight? And VJ's what is going on?
Oh no! Hold on! I'm viewing the credits.
Yeah, it's Teddy and Dr. Freeze.
Rodney Jerkins, all instruments, though. That's what it says here.
Yeah, but he didn't produce.
Yeah, he was. "Break of Dawn."
Yeah, but it's Teddy and.
All right, then. Okay, so who did Heaven Can Wait then? Was that Rodney? Because I mean, that was my next.
No, that was Teddy.
Heaven Can Wait.
Oh, hey, yo, that's why I started the show with the gigantic asterisks. Like, yo, Rodney Jerkins. It's not
Andrew, in your defense, I.
You know what, Jax? I'm gonna be saved by the people in the audience. Yeah, you'll save in your defense, but yeah, shit. Which one's that? The jazzy one. Invincible. It's Invincible. So Invincible would be the one that I would then swap in. But anyway, I'm sorry, Beach. I cut you off. I'll take the defense.
In your defense, I was going to defend you. Rodney Jerkins is all over the production on that, whether he's credited or not. He is definitely a producer on that, whether he's credited or not. He
Thank
is
you.
performing so many
but
instruments.
I say give it to me,
You
man.
cannot not say he's a
no,
producer on that.
no. It is the producers are Michael Jackson, Dr. Freeze.
That's what's
When he
credited.
did Jackson, it was on
Rodney
there.
is definitely a producer on that because he is
Yeah.
all over the instrumentation on that, all over that.
It was.
So,
I googled
that's
it
what I'm
online,
saying.
and Break of Dawn was listed. So
Yeah, it's no, he's not credited as a producer. He could have played the instrument, but he's not credited as.
all right,
a
then
producer,
we're flipping it to Invincible, but but we can't change the overall list VJ did. But Invincible is now at number 14, and that's fine. I can live with it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, VJ has come back just in time. Okay, so that uses number 14. That means Rock My World wasn't included in your list. Okay.
I'll tell you what, folks, there's going to be a lot of drinking tonight. It's the heat is. Oh,
the heat
yeah,
is
I've got
on.
a cup of tea. I've got my water bottle. I think I'm going to have to refill in a bit, guys. Deary me.
Dr. Freeze. Number 13 for me was it's another Timbaland track, and it was one of those tracks where outside of this track, I don't think I remember another song by this artist. But it was another one of those things where you could just hear Timbaland just going crazy with his production. And it's Tweet's "Oops My Oh My."
Good one.
And it was just
Yes.
I just like you could just listen to the instrumental and just like okay, and just go all over the place. And it just shows you that he could just make anyone a star, and then that's about it.
That is a bad
Beautiful track.
Who have you picked?
It came out in
Who
2002.
did you pick there, Namdi?
Tweet. Oops. Oh my.
Oh yeah, there it is. There it is.
Yeah.
And had that Hollywood kind of vibe to it as well. Like it was just
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like Timbaland, man. So that came out in 2002. That's my second Timbaland. I'm surprised. Second Timbaland at number 13. VJ.
My number 13 is from 2000. It samples Memphis Bleak and Jay-Z Twister and Missy. Is that Chick, The Lost Verses from 2000 and also from 2000. It's Missy Elliott's Get Your Freak On. Brilliant song. And I can't explain how impactful this song was in my head. It was just massive. It's a big tune. And I'm surprised I put it in there because there are other songs I think I could put in there. But it's a fantastic song and it deserves to be in there in Timbaland's lists. So that's why Missy Elliott's Get Your Freak On's in there. I really like it.
Did you peep the comments? Are you reading that comment?
I'm looking at what Lotus Capone is saying. I'm thinking.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, Vij. I had Get Your Freak On at number 14, but you've got it at number 13.
I would say to Low Tone Capone. The last sentence, the last word you sort of wrote was. I can't say it, can I? It's not. I just can't. I'll get in so much. I'll have the keyboard warriors telling me my bad behaviour because I've had a few of that. But the last word should be Rodney, Jerk, double F. There you go. There you go.
No, okay. You know what? I was thinking like Jerkins, like the lotion. Like get it, like Jerkins. All right. Yeah. Anyways, moving right along. All right, moving on. We're being nice. We're being mean.
Yes, Stevie. 13.
Number 13 is a Timbaland production. When I got this album, the first thing that I was trying to get my head around, production aside, was the actual rapping. Because, P. Diddy's rapping for me doesn't cut it. The sound of it doesn't. Timbaland's rapping, again, I'll say it just doesn't cut it for me. The sound, he just shouldn't rap. Sorry, Timbaland. Beat, you're an incredible beat maker, but nah. And then he partnered up with a guy called Magoo. And I was listening to him rap and I'm thinking, dearie me, can I tolerate a whole album of these two rapping? But over the years, I think Magoo's rap has grown on me because he's there's nobody sounds like Magoo. and he's he's not here now, is he? So rest in peace. But referring to this album, the first Timbaland and Magoo album, which had a lot of features that padded out the album. But the track that I thought was amazing on it was "Love to Love You." Love to Love the
remix, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I thought it was outstanding. It was quite a long track. Shanta was another rapper on. Again, I was like, can I tolerate her rapping? But I think it's a very good track anyway. I'll go with that.
Okay.
Love to Love You, 1998. That is.
Okay.
All right. So that was really funny. Two things so Magoo, I always felt like some people thought Magoo was like kind of like Q-Tip in terms of his delivery and tone, but that's number one. Number two, believe it or not, going back to before this show, we were going back and forth about the years. Like at first it was like, at least the Flyers was like 1995 to 2002. So we opened it up, right? But if it was just 2002, my number 14 absolutely would have been Love Ya, Love Ya, right? Not number 14, 13. Number 13 would have been Love to Love You. I'm not tipsy, I promise. Anyway, but number 13 now is actually a song that I don't listen to that often, but I remember actually, this is a true story, walking through a UK airport, I think after an NJS Free party in 2007. So this should kind of give you guys a clue. So this is the whole Timbaland Danger era. And the song has a kind of a post-apocalyptic, like sci-fi almost vibe to it. And the song is by Nelly Furtado, and it's called Say It Right. So Say It Right, even though it's a pop song, I just can't lie. Something about that beat and the way the sound and the whole, it was like future Timbaland, if you will, is at number 13. For my Timbaland pick.
It came out what year? 2006?
I want to say 2006, yeah, but as a single it was 07. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Not a problem. I
was
think
it the same album that was on the Promiscuous
yes,
album?
Promiscuous, Man Eater, and then Say It Right. I think those were the three singles out.
Right.
And then like Britney came out after that with Damn. Anyways, that one it's Britney B. What's the song called? Give me more. Give me more. Give me. Anyways, yeah.
We're managing VJ, don't worry. Okay, so into number 12. And I'm going back to the this is a track produced by the Neptunes, and it was them, these guys still experimenting, trying to figure out their sound. And it was an artist that I did remember early on in his career, teaming up, before he went solo. But most people did not realize that the person singing the hook was Tammy Lucas. And this is Super Thug by Noriega, produced by the Neptunes, came out in 98. And that was Tammy just singing. And but when you understand the whole story of the fact that by 96, when they by 96, Tammy and the Neptunes had sort of moved away from Teddy and Future, and they were living off of Tammy's, her royalty checks, and it was like making music together, and they did the stuff with Total and SWV and stuff, but then they got the chance with Noriega, and Tammy was singing that hook on that track. A lot of people think subsequently that it was Khalees, but Tammy actually auditioned Khalees and had her signed to Neptune Star Trek, and then she got kicked out. So whole politics there. But Noriega's Super Thug featuring Tammy Lucas, 98, is my 12th pick.
Great choice, and it's nice that were able to even talk about Tammy Lucas working with the Neptunes. It's just nice to be able to mention her name, and I think that was a brilliant track, and her vocals were killer on that. Absolutely stunning track.
Is that the track that goes what?
Yeah.
What?
No, and MJ loved that track. I think that was the track that got MJ to call Pharrell in the first place. And you can actually see like MJ like you can picture it.
Yeah, that's what he wanted, right? When he was presented those tracks from the Justin album, he was like presented with tracks like I Love You, and he's like, "What's wrong with you? I wanted something like Super Thug." So
yeah, definitely. Go ahead, GJ. Number 12 for you.
My number 12, but I had to read out my number 15, the credits. You have to just hear this. If you say this out loud, it doesn't make any sense. So, Confused by Blackstreet, produced by Teddy Riley for Little Man Productions and Rodney Jerkins for Darkchild Entertainment. Recording engineer George Mayers, Julian McBrown, and Franz Werner, and recorded and mixed at Future Recording Studios, Virginia Beach. Just as credits. Isn't that crazy? Just hearing that out loud. Rodney and Teddy for Little Man, and then Rodney for Darkchild. I just thought that was crazy. My number 12 is Justin Timberlake's "Like I Love You." Should have been a Michael Jackson track. Could have been, but it was such a brilliant song when it came out. Like, when we heard that for the first time, if you weren't bouncing around like something was wrong with you, man. Because it was a very good song. It contains a sample of NERD Brain, and it's sampled in 14 songs.
I remember where I was driving along the 101 freeway, and if I may admit, back then, like this was like what 20 years ago now, well 23 years ago now, I was a little bit of a hater. I'm like, man, like, I would have loved to make music like that. So he's just out doing it, and then whatever. Anyways, I'm being too real with you guys. But I remember, and the craziest part about it was that song came out literally just 4 months after NSYNC was done. So we're talking like NSYNC was done like April 2022, May maybe, and then like maybe even June. And then by September of 2022, that song comes out. Then he's on the MTV VMAs. Like, Justin wasted no time putting that album together. You gotta give him props, to do that much damage in such a little time with not see that album was like JG. He had Timbaland and the Neptunes on the album. So he was the JG of his group. He was like a Ralph, JG, and Bobby wrapped into one. So F that guy. He was like white chocolate Usher, basically. Like Usher had to like wait 2 years and then come out with Confessions. You gotta like, it's just too, but Justin did his thing, and that song was damn good, and I hate him for it. But anyway, moving right along.
Who did "Girlfriend" by NSYNC?
That was the Neptunes. And that was literally the beginning.
Neptunes. So then
that was the beginning. That's what opened it up. And then he wrote "Gone," and that song was on BET. So Justin was like already plotting his escape by like that last album. And Rodney worked on Celebrity. So it's all connected, baby. It's all connected.
I love that you have compared Johnny Gill's 1990 album with this Justin album, because you've got on that you had obviously Jimmy Jam and LA and Babyface, KO and Daryl Simmons, etc. And on this one you had Timbaland and Chad and Pharrell. Absolutely brilliant. That is it. That's a perfect example. I've never thought of it like that. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Stevie.
I'm going back to the year 1999. Not a year that I didn't like the year. There was just something about that year musically that I felt it wasn't the same. I remember I was out in clubs every week then on a Saturday night, and I realized things were changing. DJs were playing less and less. Like, the connection between new music and old school music was getting further and further. DJs were playing less old school. They were more playing these poppy R&B tracks. I felt, but what we'd been used to throughout the 90s, great vocals on great R&B tracks on songs. Again, I just felt something wasn't right, and I couldn't put my finger on it. But one of the artists that came out of this 99 into the 2000 era, you could argue vocally she wasn't that strong. But she was a bit of a star. the Neptunes produced the first album. I really enjoyed the first album. It was a fresh sound. I feel this track in particular has stood the test of time because it's not as Namdi's already picked the big worldwide single from it, which does sound a bit dated to me now. But this particular track still it stands up now. That's good stuff, and that's Kelly's. That's my number 12. I think there's they get a bit more melodic as the track goes on. The beats are not too heavy, but I just thought it was a solid cut.
Nice.
Like vocally, like I say, there's a quality dive going on there from about 99 onwards into pop music that a lot of these producers were doing then.
It's interesting you mentioned 99 because 99 was also the year that Voodoo came out. And Voodoo, many people, they praise that album as one of the greatest R&B albums ever recorded. So I don't know. It's like something that was that great came out in 99 and the rest of the music
ignored though. Didn't sell. It flopped, that album, didn't it? It just flopped.
It didn't do well, yeah. But
some great stuff on
album. Yeah.
But vastly overlooked. Like you say, people were buying Kelly's and, that was the difference. I didn't want D'Angelo then, unfortunately.
Zach mentioned Shakespeare, Kevin Shakespeare Briggs. He was big around that time. And somebody else, I think Jack's mentioned.
Shakespeare. That was like his production was like Timbaland on speed. Timbaland on acid.
That's what it was. It was very good. It was very good. He had some great tracks, but that's a good example.
There's a lot more I could share on that. I might save it for later, but you have no idea how synchronicitous all this is. Especially as soon as someone said Shakespeare, I literally was just talking about Shakespeare with I'll spoil it, my now fiance. We got engaged last night, so that happened.
Hey, congratulations!
So there'll be video later, but we were driving and Bills was playing. And I was talking about this show, and I talked about Shakespeare and Rodney and everybody, and I was just giving her my opinion on everyone. But yeah, Shakespeare was definitely someone who I described as kind of like following that, because Timbaland was kind of an innovator and he was influential, and he actually had a lot of songs about beat biters and everything like that. And I brought up Shakespeare being with that one, and like No Scrubs, I think he did like an NSYNC track. But his sound wasn't really like, I didn't really see it progress beyond that. Maybe it did, but radio wasn't picking up on it. But anyway, I say all of that to take it back to Tammy Lucas. Tammy Lucas did great work on NERD's first album, which is still my favorite one. I consider it a no-skip album, and it hurt my heart to just have to pick one, because Baby Doll is actually my favorite from the album, right, Beej? And like when you hear like Tammy going, sorry, like they should have had like a total like a beach like video, like all like retro. It was perfect. It was kooky, it was different. But number 12, I play all the time. And a lot of what I put on my list is what I actually play. Like, because if I don't play it a lot, then I must not like it. But lap dance, like that's the one. So lap dance is my number 12. It gets me going. And I think it's a good. I think it might be my first Neptunes track. I think it is. So yeah, number 12, Neptunes, lap dance. So that's it.
Very nice.
Well done. Good track.
And Zach,
we just want to acknowledge.
We'll try to go faster, right?
Yeah, we gotta say to Zach, we're not going to try and let this go on for hours.
No, that's not going to be that.
It will do.
We'll try.
I just want to acknowledge. We just want to acknowledge Rob from 911 and but also the music.
We have Cinderella Jack at home before midnight. That's the big question. We haven't took bed before midnight. Let's see.
So Rob, great to have you watching alongside us. Number 11 for me, following on from Andrew's sort of when he talked about the Neptunes and Tammy. This was a track that they worked together on, another Neptunes track with Tammy, and it was supposed to be on her debut album. her debut album had productions from the Neptunes and from Teddy Riley. They'd already recorded, but it just never came out. So one of the tracks from her first album, and this is when you listen to this track, is completely different from what the Neptunes went on to start to do, and this is "Use Your Heart" by SWV. They did, and if you listen to this, it's completely different from what the Neptunes went on to do thereafter. They changed their whole style, but this was a very Michael Jackson type of vibe. They probably were still leaning on the "Tonight's the Night" type of stuff before they settled on "This Is Us." We're going to be using these weird beats and stuff, but this is a beautiful track, and I like the fact that it had. Not just Coco, but having
Taj or Lele?
Taj, having Taj on the vocals alongside Coco just made it a real. And it's one of the things I loved about the track is that we got to see Taj performing and showcasing the vocals, and it wasn't, So. But they went away from this type of song thereafter. But this was one of their first songs, and how they got this was when Pharrell featured on the remix of Human Nature. The A&R for SWV was around, and they contacted him, and he gave them a shot to do this track on the SWV album, and the rest became history. Use Your Heart, Neptunes, 1996 at number 11.
For the sake of keeping it quick, I just want to say Use Your Heart was what, Zach, exactly. I was thinking of you. Keeping it quick, I remember when A New Beginning came out, and I was like, this is a big-ass album, but I'm a little disappointed. It wasn't the same as the first album, because You're the One. I was like, okay, really? But then Use Your Heart came out, I'm like, finally, this song, like, saved the album. But it didn't do what it was supposed to do. So the next album, I think, Release Intention, came out like a year, right after. So it wasn't the same. But yeah, anyways, I just want to say that. And Use Your Heart has a very Lady in My Life kind of vibe to it. Like that's
that's what I said. Very Michael Jackson type of stuff. Yeah.
My number 11 is off this album, where this album was mainly known for Slip and Fall, I'd say, because it was a new Jodeci track plus Get Back. 2 new Jodeci tracks were on here, produced by Devante. But my number 11 is Casey and JoJo's Game Face. I really like this song. I don't know why. It's a great song. That's mine.
And who produced it? Okay.
I need to replay that. I'll be honest, I found those Casey and JoJo albums hard going, VJ. 1 or 2 tracks that I liked on each album.
Very hard to listen to, but this was Slip and Fall was amazing. And even Get Back is a Jodeci track. So it's Casey and JoJo, produced by Devante, and Game Face, another one. Brilliant. And that's makes my number 11.
That's an interesting choice. I just wouldn't even thought of that. I'll listen to it. I'll dig it out because I've just not played it for years. I won't even looked at Casey and JoJo. Right, number 11. It's funny that a lot of people going about Jennifer Lopez when really the girl we should all be going on about, the Latin Queen, is Veronica from 1995.
Brilliant stuff.
This album is reviewed in its own right from 10 to one of the best of 95. Doesn't get any props whatsoever. It's an incredible album, but there's a track on here, an absolute gem, produced by Rodney Jerkins, called Without Love. Namdi's like, who is that? Who is this Veronica? He's never heard it in his life, and that's terrible. That's terrible, Namdi. Your mate, your friend, Rodney Jerkins, one of the best things he's ever done.
It is a stunning album. Veronica is fantastic. And even her follow-up was brilliant. She had some great tracks by Dave Jam Hall on the sophomore album. But that album, the one that you just held up, absolutely brilliant. Some of Rodney Jerkins' best work.
I'd forgot because I've not played it for a while. Unnecessary Trip, produced by...
Oh my God, brilliant.
Oh my God.
So good. So good.
Oh, dearie me.
Okay. Okay, Andrew, what about you? VJ, just quick. You. I saw a picture with you and Rob.
Yeah,
in London.
Yeah, I was gonna shout out Rob when I came round again, but yeah, I've spent I think 10 hours with Rob a couple of days ago. We had a really great day. We laughed a lot. That boy's got some interesting stories, that's for sure. So very interesting day with him.
Yeah, Andrew.
All right, super quick. Veronica, all I know her from this remix, "No One But You," featuring Craig Mack. I don't know who produced it, but it was like basically I would describe it as a one-hit wonder here in the U.S. She must have been bigger overseas because Veronica. I remember that song, but that's about it. Anyway, moving right along. Number 11 is "Past the Courvoisier," an NERD. NERD. Neptunes featuring Busta, Baby Oil, and Pharrell. That's all I got on that.
Who was that again?
Busta, Baby Oil, and Pharrell, and they did "Past the Courvoisier" or "Past the Johnson's."
Oh right, yeah, that was a very
you got jokes,
man.
Yeah, that was. I remember that track, and it was one of my outside Neptunes sort of track, but I don't. The ones I picked, I just put but that was a moment when that came out, because I was like, what the hell is Courvoisier? I mean, and this is when artists, especially hip hop artists in the Black community, started to become entrepreneurs. They're like, we're selling Courvoisier, we're selling Hennessy, we're selling all this stuff, and they said, we're going to make our own stuff, because you're selling Courvoisier, and they weren't paying you for it, so they went and marketing. So they learned to do their stuff. So good track out. Okay, number 10, top 10. This is a track from 1997, and when we listen to most of the production by this producer, it's quite different from everything else that he was later known for. But there were elements of this that you could tell that he picked up from Teddy when he did this track. 17 years old when he met up with this artist and curated, produced, and co-wrote "Don't Want to Be a Player" by Joe. And it was, with the vocal at the back and stuff. 17 years old. Can you just imagine that? 17 years old when he came up with this track for Joe. And then, it was the biggest track for not Fat Joe. Big Pun then did the remix, got Joe on it, and that became his big song. But "Don't Want to Be a Player," Darkchild from Joe in '97 shows his versatility.
Big track, that Namdi. Big 10. Track.
Fantastic choice.
Yes. Go ahead, Reid.
My number 10, it is from 1996. It's a very early Neptunes production. It contains a sample of BT Express. "If It Don't Turn You On, You Ought to Leave It Alone." Brilliant stuff in itself. It's SWV's "Use Your Heart." And I think this song is perfect. I think, who was it? Somebody mentioned just now. They said that the Neptune sound had evolved to such a point and they'd surpassed this style of music, and they superseded all of this earlier Neptune sound, which they did, but there was something so magical about "Use Your Heart." It is perfect. Cannot be.
Yeah, they changed their style after this. I mean, but as I said, this this is when they still had they moved away. This was still some of the remnants from "Tonight's the Night" and
exactly. It's very Teddy Riley-esque. Really is.
Yeah,
very much so. But isn't it a song that just really? It's so good. I couldn't ignore it on this list. He had to make it. So that's my number 10.
Okay, Stevie.
Number 10 is, I think you've interviewed one of these ladies. I think one of the group was Total from 1997. Their debut, produced by Timbaland. It's that big club track again. "What About Us?" Bum ba bum ba bum. What about us? Bum ba bum ba bum bum. Oh, that used to fill the club floor every single Saturday night. That track, dancing away to that, big memories. Boom, 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 boom. Huge bass line on it, big heavy bass line track that from Timbaland. But oh, dearie me, what a track!
Stevie, I want to tell you, I remember where I was when I heard that track for the first time. I was driving to work in the morning, and I think it was SWV in the studio being interviewed, but then they were talking about Timbaland, and then they played What About Us, and my brain was literally like, what is this? And that do at the end where he's just like beatboxing, and it's like, boom, like, man, this guy is a genius, like Timbaland. So I had to like co-sign what you just did, man. At the end, Namdi knew what I was talking about.
We didn't need a rap on it. Didn't need a rap. Didn't need a Timbaland rap or a P Diddy rap or a whoever rap. It was just
soul food.
It was from the Soul Food soundtrack. Yes, Zach. Yeah.
All right. My number 10 was originally for Janet Jackson, and Janet Jackson did not like the track because she didn't want to be anybody's slave. So that was the hint. Yes, man, I do play this song, and I think the song. I know some people like Girls better, but nah, dude, that dude is undeniable. Yeah, laugh all you want. Laugh it up, Fuzzball. No, number slave. I'm a slave for you is my number 10, man. Sorry, guys, I have zero. Pardon my French. Zero apologies. I do listen to that song. It just has that. I guess get it.
Can you let them know who produced it and when it came out?
Neptunes, the year 2000.
Neptunes.
Yeah.
You know, this was the period where some of them pop artists
were 2001, actually. I think it was 2001.
They were looking for a bit of credibility. They're looking for a bit of credibility. So what they did was they paid these R&B producers a hell of a lot of money. They were all getting big suitcases full of money, 75, 80 grand, 120, 150 grand for a beat. And I tell you what, they were happy to pay them. Take the money.
2001.
Incredible street cred track. They didn't deserve, really, because they were making, shite pop music before then.
Okay.
Only me with it. Anyways, moving on.
Going to my number 9 for me was if we go back to 96, and this was a New York record. This was a massive hit, and it was The Things You Do, Gina Thompson, Darkchild, and he did the original one, and he worked alongside Puffy to do the remix, and he talks about how he wanted to use a lot of the keys, and then Puffy says, "No, man, just keep it simple," and he learned how to simplify remixes, and I did ask him 2 weeks ago about remixes, and he did believe, he echoed what you guys have said, that he does believe the remixes are a whole new track. So when we ever get to our remix top 10, those producers do see it as, look, man, we're taking what somebody else has done and we're redoing something different. So, but anyway, The Things You Do, Gina Thompson, it was a summer anthem of 96. And it still bops now. I mean, if you still play it right now, you can still hear it. You can still feel the fire. It's a summer anthem, and that was her big hit. Rodney's. They signed her. They were going to, do some stuff with her, but Mercury went through its folding stuff, which affected what happened with the rest of the album and stuff. All right, that's number 9 for me.
Namdi, may I ask you a question?
Yep.
You've included a remix there. Could we have included remixes on this list?
No, because he did the original well as
fine.
Yeah, he did.
Which one are you talking about? Which one did you play the most, the remix or the album version?
Exactly.
You played the remix more now. Don't. Come on.
Yeah, but he did the remix. But it's still his track. It's still the same track. It's still the same track.
But he's allowed.
Leave
him alone. He's allowed to include the song. If he's including it's a Rodney Jerkins production. He's allowed to.
It's his track, but it's not a remix of.
No, because Bad Boy come along. It was take away all the RJ, but take it all away, throw it out. They throw it out, put a whole different feel to it, beat and everything, and it's like a whole new track. I'm not saying that the Rodney Jerkins original album version is a very good. It's very, very good.
Fantastic.
But that Bad Boy remix is just. That's the one you're listening to. Come on.
Bad Boy Rodney Jerkins mix though.
Don't pull wool over our eyes here, Namdi. That's something Bad Boy remix, mate. You know we were.
Okay, if I can get you guys to agree on camera that we will do a remix podcast at some point, that would be great.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, great. Yeah. My number 9 is from 1997. Another relatively early Rodney Jerkins production, I would say. It's off Mary J. Blige's Share My World album. It contains a sample of Queen Bitch by Lil' Kim.
Yeah.
Also from 90s, that was from a year before. It's sampled in 15 songs, and the song is I Can Love You. When this song came out, we were like, what is going on? This was just something else. And you got to remember, Mary had a great run. She had that What's the 411 album. The remix of What's the 411 album came out. Then she had Andre Harrell's words, nobody else's. The most significant album in his career was My Life. And then she followed it with Share My World. Outstanding. And this single, Rodney Jerkins, man, I can't. Yeah. Thank you, sir, for this song. This song, absolutely magic. I Can Love You, number 9 for me.
Wow.
Okay.
Stevie, big track. I reckon Namdi's got to pick that somewhere. I know that's one of his favourite albums.
It's got to be.
It's got to be. He's got to include that.
It's going to be high as well. I reckon it's going to be high.
Well, I reckon this track, if it's not in your chart, VJ, I'll be very, very, very surprised. It could be higher. Higher. If it's not in, then you need a red card. But number 9 is from this group. Intro. Strung Out on Your Loving from 1995. The forgotten intro. Such a forgotten intro track produced by Rodney Jerkins. Wasn't a single. Great start to an album. Another 90. What year 95 was? Nobody talks about 1995. What a year that was.
1995 was probably is one of the best years.
Incredible. And real true R&B.
And 2 podcasts ago, when Rodney Jerkins mentioned that he has further unreleased material with Kenny Green, it's over, man. Just the idea of Rodney and Kenny doing tracks is just too much for me, man.
Nice.
My number 9 comes from the year 1998. And this was the year in the album where I would say Rodney found his Aaliyah, because when Timbaland found Aaliyah and did One in a Million, that was the beginning of a whole thing. And when Rodney came out with Brandy's Never Say Never album, which to me is a no skips album, and it defined the summer of 98 and opened up with this hypnotic song called Angel in Disguise. Angel in Disguise made it to my number 9 for Rodney. I think the song is perfection. And now I'm scared to look at the credits because it better be fucking Rodney. Because if it's not, I'm going to be embarrassed after that big ass check. So nobody checked. It's Rodney. Rodney did it. It wasn't Joe. Even though I think Joe did.
I'm sure he did.
So anyway.
Okay. So number 8 for me, there were 2 tracks by this artist that came out in 2000, and I was like, which of the 2 did I like the best? And it was a hard one, because this was like, I remember when this came out, and I'm like, what the hell is this kind of stuff going on? Mystical. Now, these
Pick
guys,
the
the
right
Neptunes,
track,
worked with
pick the right
Mystical.
track.
They worked with Mystical, and I know one of both tracks were great, but man, shake your ass.
Oh,
Tell
yeah.
me what you're going. Don't.
Big tune, man. Big
I mean, I'm just like, what the hell is this? I mean, I had to rush out and buy the album, and Danger was good. It's been so long, but it was not shake your ass. Tell me what you're doing. I mean, that was like, I'm like, okay, these guys, and this is when the Neptunes, when they start to do the drumming and that everyone started to take notes, and they decided, we're going to keep our sound so distinctive that everyone would know it's us, and they didn't switch it around and stuff. But man, that brought Mystical from, because he just been exiled from Cash Money, and he needed, this was his sort of return and stuff, and he just went ballistic with this one. Yeah, shake your ass.
Monstrous
2000.
Monstrous track, Nambi.
Yeah.
I mean, the funk in that track is just. Ooh.
Yeah. Tell me what you got to do.
I mean, that is modern. That is modern day James Brown. That track.
Oh yes.
Modern day Brown.
Yeah. VJ, what's number 8 for you?
My number 8 is from NERD's 2001 album. There was two different versions of that album, the rock version, and then there's the other one. I've got so many different versions of that album. There's one with like tracing paper as the slipcase. Very
yeah. I've got that one.
Very interesting. And the whole album has been listened. I listened to that whole album a lot, but for me,
gosh,
I love it. I love that. In Search Of is a brilliant album. The track I wanted to put on this list, and probably my most listened to, is Bobby James. I love it. I love it so much.
Depressing.
I love it. It's
such a sad song.
It is brilliant. No,
hey,
but
give me some cash.
No, it's telling a story. No, but dude, it's telling a story, and it's telling it so well. Whether the story is morbid, sad, or whatever, I don't care. The production is ridiculous on that.
It is.
Chad and Pharrell went to town on that tune, and that's my number 8. Any idea?
Wow, Bobby James.
I can't remember what it sounds like. I need to dig it out.
It's almost
Bobby James is wicked, man. It's so good.
Hey there, mister. Give me some cash. I'm high as hell, and I'm.
It is okay, but then.
No, I'm not listening anymore.
You listen to F the Police. You don't then go out and then.
This one, wasn't it?
No, I'm not saying it, but it's just like, yeah, I just.
That's the one. That's the one, Stevie.
It doesn't inspire me.
Fair enough.
The last track on the album. I don't even know what he sounds like. That's really bad.
But musically, for me, is very, very good. It just makes me feel. And if I didn't go for Bobby James, I would have gone for Brain, which is another stunner. I love Brain too. Oh my god!
Sorry, guys.
I only remember 2 tracks off this album: Lap Dance or Truth or Dare. That's all I remember.
Dude,
those are both dope. I remember seeing them live.
Yeah. Get off this podcast and listen to Brain. Listen to Brain. Oh, so good. Anyway, that's Bobby James is my number 8.
Stevie, wait a minute, Ray J.
Yo,
go ahead, Stevie.
Wise. Yes, Blade. You know what I'm talking
Ray
about.
J. Wait a minute. You know what? That was on my. That was Ray J. That was on my honourable mentions list. It nearly made my top 5. But what number were we on? Number 8.
Yeah.
Number 8.
Number 8 is another Rodney Jerkins production and Teddy Riley production. I'm not sure if it'll make VJ's list. It might do. It might not. But it's these guys. Men of Vision. Instant Love.
Very nice. Brilliant.
Ooh.
Absolutely brilliant.
I thought surprised with that tonight, guys. You might have forgotten about this.
No,
So what Rodney said about that was that Teddy said, play these chords, and he gave him the chords, and Rodney did the chords, and he says, okay, go ahead. And Teddy just gave him the whole frame, and then Rodney just picked up everything Teddy told him to do, and just said, okay, go ahead and produce it. Yeah, Teddy did everything, and then Pass it up to Rodney. Yeah,
and that feels a bit more like a Rodney track than a Teddy track. It's both of them for sure, but it feels a little bit more Rodney based on what you've just said, and that's what I
think the snare's very Teddy. The snare's very Teddy. Well, like I said, that very Rodney.
And the other artist that they did together, which was very interesting, was the stuff they did with Pure Soul.
Ooh, yes.
Brilliant! Oh my God, Teddy and Rodney on that, killer. And I think, did they do Funk Box as well? Was that Rodney and Teddy by Rex and Effect? I think that might have been both of them as well. Brilliant. That's Those guys, those two should have made so much music together. It would have been, they would have dominated.
Yeah. So when you're saying how Rodney describes it, it wasn't like it was Teddy would give him, okay, this is what I want you to do. And he'll walk away, and then Rodney finishes up. So it wasn't like they were both sitting down there, but Teddy would just give him like, I want it to sound like this, and he'll leave it, and Rodney will just pick it up and bring it back in. So was when you're talking about doing stuff together. It wasn't like, okay, yeah. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, man. So I'll keep it short, but I remember when Faith Evans came out, I was like, okay, so Faith is kind of the replacement or whatever. And then Share My World came out, and of course, the first single was "Love Is All We Need" by Jam and Lewis with Nas. Bought the album afterwards. I was driving to LA. And then listening to the album, then the opening little like sample from Fairway from. Oh yeah, that's right. It was from Queen Bitch. So Queen Bitch by Lil' Kim is the basis of I Can Love You. So when that Queen Bitch music comes on, and then the beat hits, and then she's singing, and I'm like, what? This isn't Bad Boy or Puffy, but it has that uptown sound anyway. And then Lil' Kim's in the hook. And mind you, spring of 1997, Lil' Kim is actually on fire. Like, she hasn't done the whole want to bubble with a bee, huh? Bzz. Like, she hasn't done that yet, but she's done, like, Crush on You was a big hit. So anyway, I promised it was going to be short, but I did make it short. Number 8 is absolutely I Can Love You Better Than She Can. And then the rest of the album was fire. And that was a great, great, great moment for Rodney Jerkins. And the first of 2 songs by Rodney Jerkins in 1997 that made me pay attention. And I can't wait to talk about the other one because that's going to be fun.
What was this one, Andrew? Sorry?
Okay.
The first of 2 Rodney Jerkins tracks from 1997 that made me pay attention.
Which is this one? I Can Love You, yeah?
The first. I Can Love You Better.
Yes.
Okay.
So number 7 is my final entry by the Neptunes.
Wow.
Came out in 2004.
Wow, they only got 2.
And
wow, Namdi, you're a hater, man.
Yeah.
You're a hater, man.
The final entry by the Neptunes at number 7. And it was Nelly's Hot in Here. Dum, ding. And they changed their sound a little bit. From doo, 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 but this was just like.
Uh-oh.
Oops.
This I cut up. Oh,
you're back now. Yeah.
Okay.
The AOL curse came to you.
Yeah, I saw the little thing. It says, oops. Yeah. So this was so Neptunes, Nelly, Hot in Here, 1997. No, sorry, 2004. Big track, big production. That's my number 7. Feet.
It's whether I could tolerate Nelly's rapping. Again, another rapper that I was like really struggled with Nelly.
All right, my number 7 is from 95, and this is just to appease Stevie. It's Intro Strung Out on Your Loving by Rodney Jerkins. It had to make my list. It's in there. Absolutely brilliant. And I'll leave it at that. Number 6, you're all going to give me shit about, so I'm ready for it. Just letting you know. So we've got a whole cycle so that you can build up whatever you need to build up, and then we'll have that conversation when we get to number 6. But number 7, Strung Out on Your Loving.
Wait, I'm laughing at M Mac. M Mac is like, so you're saying Hot in Here is the best song for all produced ever?
Basically, that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. His last one at number 7.
Yeah, but it's about favorite. I mean, of all the Neptune stuff, I mean, I love Shake It Out, but I think Hot in Here. If I hear it right now, I just know that it just has a very different vibe. It's again,
it's
a different.
In your defense, Namdi, in your defense, Namdi, it's subjective, man.
Yes.
You can put hot in here, cold in here, whatever the hell you want to put in here. It's all good, man. It's all good.
Stevie, what's your
All right,
number
we'll
seven?
get to number 7. Let's get a better Neptunes production than Hot in Here on, shall we? Let's get the DJ 30. He's just dropped Hot in Here now. Just he dropped, and the girls are dancing away. I'm gonna cover this track, and I'm thinking, are people still gonna dance, or are they gonna enter the floor? But I know you've interviewed this group, Namdi, or maybe 2 of the girls. I'm talking about 702. They did a track that still doesn't get his props for me, which was outstanding, but it's called Star. Have you heard that one, Namdi? 702 Star?
Yep.
And that didn't make your list. And that didn't make your list. Deary me.
It wasn't, I mean...
Deary me.
No, but again, in Namdi's defense here, between these 3 sets of producers, they've produced over 2,500 songs. 2,500. I'm just saying, man. There's a lot of music, man.
I mean, to make a top 5, but yeah, and yeah. I mean, I went through. Let me see. I went through this list about 8 times this afternoon, but yeah, Hot in Here still stayed up quite high up there. Knight, what about you? What's number 7?
All right. So this was a showdown for number 7. And it's funny because somebody in the comments already mentioned the showdown. So Jay-Z is at number 7 as the artist. And I had a choice between a 2000 song and a 1999 song as far as when the video was out. So one's Pharrell and the Neptunes, and one is Timbaland. And I had to, and I love them both. I really do. But this list had to choose one. So I had to go with the one with the white letterbox video. The yacht.
It was the milk one. What was it?
Like bam, 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 Dame Dash. So Big Pimpin' Spand and Cheese beat. I'm a hustler, baby, and I want you to know. Like that was the one. I just want to know you. Anyway, so literally, I mean, it was like right there. Give it to me. But yeah, Excuse Me almost made it, dude. Trust me. But Big Pimpin' is number 7, Spin and Cheese on this podcast.
Okay.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, definitely a good one. Number 6, I'm going back to Darkchild, and this was a song. Now, when this came out, I do remember in 2001, when it came out in '99. There was such a movement out in the UK, something called garage music. And people say, what's garage? So think of Artful Dodger, think of Craig David, think of
Sweet
A
Like
Woman's Work.
Chocolate, baby.
Yeah. So that, well, you guys call it, we call it garage.
Sweet like chocolate,
so
baby.
It was just the way you just, the drums would beat and stuff like that. And when I spoke to Rodney, and he says that he was working doing the stuff for Spice Girls, and he was in London for a couple of weeks, and he heard a lot of the drum, the garage. He says, "Man, I want to take some of this back," and he worked with this group, and he made this record, a garage record, and everyone hated it, and he had to say, "Okay, I need to change it a little bit." And he changed it around a bit, got him his first Grammy Awards, but there's still elements of it that you can hear that is very much from the root of Grammys. And it's Say My Name by Destiny's Child. Now, the video is confusing because you went from 4 to 3 to new members all in as they were switching around. You're like, I can see Beyonce, I can see Kelly. Who are the others? And they said, we didn't remember. But anyway, Say My Name, and the whole speeding up and back and forth and stuff like that. So that is number 6 for me. 99, Destiny's Child, Rodney Jerkins. Say My Name, Destiny's Child.
Fair enough.
That's it. Yeah.
I thought that was a bit of a. I thought that was Darkchild trying to do Timbaland and to me, but that's just my.
Now he said he wanted to do drum and bass, not drum and bass, garage, because he was in the UK and he actually, it was supposed to be garage, and even John Marie was the engineer on the track, and they were like, man, this doesn't flow, and he had to change it afterwards. But that was his attempt to bring garage to the US. Yeah. VJ.
My number 6 is from 1996. It's been sampled in one song, and I'm ready for any conversations that you want to have about this, because you're going to have some thoughts about this. My inclusion at number 6 is Debasement's "Loving You Down." Discuss.
I loved it. That was dope.
Now, discuss why I can and why I cannot include that here.
Because Devontae might be on
What
there.
were the credits on it for starters? Who was credited?
Okay. So credited as produced by Devontae Swing for his damn self.
Yeah.
So why have I included it? So
I was going to say, Time and Place almost made my list because I consider that a Timbaland track. But
that is a Timbaland track as well. But Debasement, if you think about the sound on that, yeah. Timbaland's sound was based, it was exactly like that after this song. So the first time we heard that type of production was on Debasement, "Loving You Down."
Yep.
And Devontae never produced another song like this.
Yep. So that's how you know.
Timbaland was a part of Debasement, and the probability is very high that Timbaland produced this song. So, and if Devontae was involved, so be it. But I think Timbaland had a heavy hand in the production, whether he's credited or not, because Timbaland's entire sound was based off this style.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because this was distorted. The music, it sounded a little bit off kilter. But Debasement, "Loving You Down" is my number 6.
I love it.
And this should be number 1. It's so damn good, this song.
Was it on a soundtrack? Was it on a soundtrack?
Yeah, it was on the Night Professor, first 96.
Right. I need to dig that out again.
Yeah. Ain't no, like, it was a great soundtrack. Summer 96.
So, Red Golden Child. I know what the credits say, but if you heard what I've just said, what I'm saying is that sounds like Timbaland's style. Timbaland styled his entire musical sound off that type of beat. Devontae never made another song that sounded anywhere remotely like that again. So my argument is Timbaland did it. That's what I'm saying.
Hopeful. Thanks, man. I'm glad you like Time and Place. I feel like Time and Place doesn't get talked about enough.
I think you slightly cheated there, but we'll let you.
I knew you would. I knew you'd say that.
Yeah, I think you cheated.
I know you would, mate. I knew it.
You know, we've got Andrew Knight throwing in a Michael Jackson track that Rodney Jerkins wasn't. You and you, what did you do before that was very, very dubious?
I didn't do anything.
Dubious before.
I didn't do anything.
Well, listen, let me get this podcast back on track with something that is a certified Neptunes production. I'm stunned Namdi didn't pick this one. I've got a feeling Knight might pick it. VJ, I'm not so sure. But you don't have to call. Sure. Number 6, you don't have to call. Was that Michael Jackson moment? I don't know, but it stuck with me. It stuck with me from this album, and it's made my number 6. So there you go.
Nice. That's 2002?
Yeah, 2001.
2001, yeah. Okay, I remember that time. Okay. Yeah. And then he has the doom, 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 doom. Yeah, let's throw the thing. It's almost like they're like this. Let's just throw a few doops and space sounds in there. Yeah. Go ahead.
I remember when MTV was still relevant, and I was just watching MTV one day, and all of a sudden I just see these people walk into a country bar, and then all of a sudden I hear these weird ass sound effects. Forgive me, but you hear the first L. I can't do it, but I'm basically trying to do Tony 1996. It was like basically like I feel like it was that show after party hotel / basement sound put onto this dude. You can barely see Genuine in the video. It's very dark and shadowy. But I'm like, this like, what is this? Like, it was like him and Aaliyah came out at the same time, fall of 96, late summer, fall of 96. And Pony just changed the game. And I feel like the whole first album was kind of based on Pony. Yes, there's other songs on there that have their own sound. Like I'll Do Anything. I love that song. But anyway, but Pony was by far like the anchor of that album, and that whole sound, that like that, like it was just whoa. So at number 6 is Genuine, Elgin, Lumpkin, at Pony, which you could totally throw Freaking You on top of that beat and it would work. So it was just it was a sea change. It was the beginning of the second half of the decade.
Was there a reason why you mentioned Freaking You for a reason? Was there a reason why you mentioned Freaking You there? Was there a reason for that? Andrew?
Besides just putting it together in my head and maybe even hearing a mashup at one point? Not really. No, why?
Okay, so there's a white label
there is
record with Pony and Freaking You, and it sounds incredible. Yeah. So I didn't know if you knew it. I thought it was only in the UK, but if you've heard it, but you've referenced something that either you knew existed or
it just worked. You know, sometimes when something makes too much sense for it not to exist. So I think that's an example. Like, how do you? I almost feel like, anyways, we're taking too much time. But maybe Pony and Freaking You had the same kind of seed, like when they were being put together, and when Timbaland escaped. So I do think he had to escape. Then he just kind of went and took that idea and built it around Genuine. But I love that. And thank you, Irizarry, for making sense of my vocal gibberish. Thank you.
Okay. Number 5 for me, back to Darkchild, 2000, and I had to listen over and over again. And what I liked about this was like to be able to tame this singer and really put her in a range that kind of worked for her. And actually, this was one of the. There was. For Darkchild, there was just almost like if you think of LA and Babyface in the late 80s, when they had a number of songs that had a very similar sort of vibe to it. This song by Darkchild, Tony Braxton, He Wasn't Man Enough for Me, had the strings, the harps, that kind of the fast drum beats and everything like that that he kind of used with Whitney and the rest going forward. But He Wasn't Man Enough for Me. And Tony, who has this real powerful voice, he was able to say, don't over sing it. Let's bring a different element of you. And especially since you've got all your hits from Babyface, let's do something different. And I felt that it really was a different element of Tony Braxton that really fitted her. Wasn't man enough for me. My issue subsequently was that when MJ did Rock My World, it was a year and a half after this sound, when it was waning, he came out with that. But this was when this sound was at its peak in 2000. Tony Braxton Wasn't Man Enough for Me.
Brilliant song, man. Like it was so exciting when that came out. Very nice song.
Yes. Okay, VJ, what's your 5 for you?
Number 5, sampled in 19 songs, including GP Woo, If You Only Knew, from 97. This song's from 96. She was known as R. Kelly's muse. She then started working with Timbaland, and oh my God, I cannot explain how good the Aaliyah and Timbaland collabo was. It's just, that album was just
magical, absolutely magical.
Stupendously good. And I've gone for an obvious choice here, and I think it was the first single, If Your Girl Only Knew. Stunning, flawless. You cannot improve on that song. It's just so good. That's my number 5.
Wait, which one?
If
Your Girl Only Knew.
Oh, the first single. Yeah.
Absolutely stunning.
Okay. What about you, Stevie? What's your number 5?
5, and I've just realised what I've left out from my chart, and I'm kicking myself because I've got one Rodney Jerkins selection left, and I can't leave it out to put this. I can't leave it out. So, oh dear. Anyway, it's on this soundtrack. What a soundtrack this is! It's a Timbaland. Number 5 is a Timbaland track. It's SWV at number 5 with "Can We Get Freaky Tonight?"
Yeah, man.
Huge again. So many club memories dancing to that track on a Saturday night. Big jam, you know. I know
it.
"Can We" SWV. Just
No,
it's brilliant. That would have actually
that kept them girls in the game in late 90s. Kept them in the brought them back again.
so
Can we get Freaky Tonight?
you guys are different from me in that respect. I couldn't keep "Can We" away from my list far enough.
Wow.
It's just not for me. It was never a song for me.
You were doing that like that was so it was so different. Yeah. Like,
well, you think about it. But look, just think about it objectively for a moment. This is SWV, yeah? They had It's About Time album. They had all of those big tunes off that, A New Beginning, everything they had off that. It was just one step too far. I couldn't relate that sound to SWV. I saw them more of a New Jack kind of thing, and just me. I don't know.
Yeah, Missy. It was
weird like that. I can't help it.
Together, it was Missy, SWV, and Timbaland all one track. It was a different sound. It was a reinvention to me. It was like, and again, and then that riff. I love different kind of riffs, like whether it's Casey's or hers, like you do something different, like that gets my attention, and it's just so. It was haunting.
But the moment CV you start singing it, I want to listen to it again. Does that make any sense? I don't know, but it does. That's what I want. I need to.
Well, I'm surprised at your Aaliyah selection. I thought that first single was good, but not outstanding.
What would you think I would have gone for if I didn't go for that?
I thought, well, we'll see. We'll get to that. We'll get to that as we climb this chart.
It's still coming then. All right, fair enough. All right.
Okay, Andrew, what's you?
My number 5 is a music video that featured Teddy Riley along with 2 rappers, and they know what they keep in the lining. So it's that grinding beat, grinding. Like, yo, that song was everywhere in 2002. And again, just seeing Teddy in the video, just like kind of doing his thing in the video in the end, like I was like, that's love, man. That like the Neptunes, like, it was just that beat goes so hard. So for me, we're in the top 5 now. And I feel like in this top 5, it's nothing but bangers. And for me,
definitely
grinding at number 5 is just fitting. So I'm your pusher. Yep. I'm like, anyways, I wish I remembered the lyrics more, because then I would just do the lyrics, but I can't. But I just love that line and woo. You know what I keep in the line and woo. Anyways, all right, carry on.
Okay, so yeah, top 5. Number 4 for me. I think Stevie already had this one out, but for me, it's much higher up. Timbaland, Total, What About Us?
Yes.
Bum 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 bum.
We've totally haven't we? We've destroyed that track, haven't we?
No. Just Timbaland, Missy. And actually, it to me it was better. I prefer this to Can We? Because it was just one of those things where this Timbaland just like I'm Timbaland. I mean, the way he was just playing with the production and the whole thing, and the way Total sort of the way they vibed. I mean, and Pam's voice. Yeah. I mean, the way they mixed it around like that. Love the track. So What About Soul Food. That was a beautiful soundtrack as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's number 4 for me. VJ.
My number 4 is from a group that this was actually Missy's second group. She was in a group called Phase, but she did an entire album with Devontae Dalvin, Daryl Pearson, and Timbaland. The first single was this one, Brand New by Sister. Lovely song. But that's not what I'm going with. I'm going with a song which features Mary J. Blige and Casey. It's called Feel of Your Lips. Songs from 1994. It's sampled in 2 songs, including Mary J. Blige's 94, I Never Want to Live Without You. Sister, Feel of Your Lips. If you do not know this song, please go out and listen to it. It's bloody brilliant.
Who produced that one then? I didn't check the credits.
That's Devontae and Timbaland. Timbaland both on that.
Wow. I would have included. I didn't realize. I thought it was Devontae actually. I didn't realize Timbaland was on it.
Yeah. But that's brilliant song.
Oh yes, great. The best track on the album.
2000.
The best track on the album.
2000 production tracks, and you guys are always doing hybrid productions. Shame. But
And
so, okay, Stevie, what's number 4 for
Number
you?
4 is my memories of this track. There is a very middle class town. It's a really nice town to visit in Cheshire. It's called Chester, the town. Not if any of you have ever been to Chester, VJ. Have you ever been to Chester?
I have, yes.
A club in there on a Saturday night called Roses. They had an R&B night that run for years in there. My friend was DJing. He'd sometimes get me in on a Saturday to do a little set. I think he was always interested in like what I was going to play, because he'd listen to what I'd play for half an hour and go, well, I'm going to start playing this and this from then on. So I think one night I actually played this track, and it's my highest Neptunes track, the final one for me. And I got a bit excited before because Namdi picked it, and I'm so glad he did. It's Mystical. Shake your ass. Now I watched the reaction of a very middle class town, a very, let's just say, a very posh white crowd hearing this big shake your ass, and it's what's this? Getting all a bit scared, you know what I mean? Oh, the fun of that track. So yeah, great memories of Mystical. Shake your ass, you know what I mean? Yeah, great track.
Brilliant. Very catchy song, man. It was very catchy song.
Yeah, it
was.
But Chester, if you ever never been to Chester before, do visit Chester. It's a great place to visit on a Saturday for shopping, and just a lovely town. Yeah.
Yeah, River. It's a town in England. Andrew, what's number 4?
I'm going to fight for this one, and I might get pushback on this, but this is my final Rodney Jerkins track, and it's at number 4. In the spring of 1994, New Edition put out a single called One More Day. And I think what made New Edition special, particularly at the Heartbreak era, was every single had a remix. And the B-side of One More Day was a song called Something About You. But it was the Darkchild remix. And I prefer the Darkchild remix to the original. And I think it is my favorite Rodney Jerkins production ever. And because it was a single, in my headspace, if it was the single version, I don't consider it like a random remix. That was the version that was meant to be out, had New Edition not imploded, and they still were together, because it was a really dope remix. You actually had AZ from like The Firm, like he was like a rapper from the East Coast on it as well. And like, you know, it's a Darkchild remix, Rodney Jerkins remix, DJ Do It All, NE and AZ. And then AZ comes on and Ralph's like, something about you, babe. And then it just keeps going. It's just a very sparse, dope. It was just perfect. So I am monologuing now because I'm trying to like take up a filibuster, so y'all can't say no, it's a remix. But I'm just saying that is my number 4. the Rodney Jerkins version, the official single version of New Edition's "Something About You" from 1997. And if you're talking about that song, Timmy, thank you for the support. And I will now be quiet.
I wondered if these guys have done up to 2,000 tracks. It feels like with
These are just production.
VJ is saying, well, yeah, it sounds like Timbaland was on this, so I'm going to pick him in my list. And it's almost as if we're just like scratching the surface to get there.
We are not even scratching the surface. These guys have done so much stuff. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There's just endless podcasts with these guys.
Okay, so I'm at number 3, and I'm going back to Timbaland. We've mentioned Aaliyah, but from '98, I think of all the tracks that he did with Aaliyah, this was my favorite. And at this point in time, we had the little dancing baby thing going around. And to start having a baby just crying in the middle of a track just didn't make any sense. But it was one of those things where dum 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 dum. Are you that somebody? Aaliyah's voice was like an angel as she just harmonizes over this track, and then the beat just drops hard. I think this was my favorite Aaliyah track ever. Although I did like her outside of her Age Ain't Nothing But a Number album, because I still think that was probably her. That was a different version of Aaliyah. But Are You That Somebody was my favorite one on there. So number 3, Timbaland, Aaliyah, 98. Are You That Somebody?
Solid.
You've picked it well. Wow,
very good. Somebody mentioned Jodeci, Timbaland being on Jodeci's Diary of a Mad Band, and I just wanted to share one thing with you guys before I go on to my track. So this is a track. It's an album by Jodeci. It's a bootleg. It's called Jodeci From the Heart, and it's got all these weird names for remixes. And I think whoever's created this has just made up remix names just to make it sound better. But check this out. So it's the original version. The version isn't any different, but it's called Get On Up featuring Timbaland. There's Freaking You Downtown mix. There's You Got It featuring Redman, Booty mix, and My Phone, Puffy Called the Shots mix. So this is an interesting thing, but we know that Timbaland was all over all of that second Jodeci and the third album as well. But yeah, I just like to share that. My number 3 is from 1999. It samples Rick James's Cold Blooded from 1983. It's sampled in 37 songs. And this song is perfect. You cannot improve this song. It's Old Dirty Bastard featuring Khalees, Got Your Money. Amazing. I love it. Number 3. That's my number 3. That's where we are.
Wow.
Doom, 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 doom.
That's the one.
Yeah, I mean, it was
That's the one track I'm sick to death of hearing in the club, if I'm honest, BJ.
Fair enough, but it's a
track, big track.
Massive tune.
Yeah, I got really fed up the list hearing that one very quickly. I'm sorry.
Fair
mate.
enough.
Right.
What did you put for number 3?
Number 3 is my final Rodney Jerkins track, produced track, and again I'm going back to this soundtrack, and I've realised what I left out or didn't consider produced by Rodney Jerkins is by One Accord called "Don't Stop, Don't Quit." Ooh, what a track that is!
Yeah, amazing track.
But anyway, the track that I picked, and it goes back to my clubbing days of the 90s, and I always give you a bit of advice, guys, about the ladies. I'm not going to give you any advice tonight. I'm just going to say that when I was in a club back then, don't be in a club if you're in a relationship, because I tell you, my eyes back then, they were open and they shouldn't have been, which it relates to the song. Number 3, Joe, Don't Want to Be a Player. Don't want to be that was me.
Okay.
7. Don't want to be a player no more. So yeah, that is number 3, Joe, and I'll leave it there.
Wow, so that high up, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, lovely track.
Okay. What about you? Yeah, definitely.
I feel
What about you, Knight?
Yeah, I feel like my pick for number 3, it is a Timbaland track, is a bit of a dark horse. I don't think people talk about this track a lot, but I personally loved it. I also loved the fact that there were multiple versions of it with different rappers. So on the album, I think the official rapper is Ludacris. However, on the album, there's also a version with Jay-Z on the rap. And that's where he goes, I'm not Ralph Tresvant, I'm not Ricky Romance, no ma. And I love how he also says, Jay-Z firing warning shots to get at his girl. He says, get your independent ass out of here. Question, so basically he was talking to not Britney, talking to Beyonce before it happened. A lot of buildup. Finally, the video features Missy and, oh my God, forget Trina. I think Trina's in the video as well. This song is a Missy Elliott song called 1 Minute Man, produced by Timbaland. I think that song is, and I'm praying it's Timbaland. I'm sure it's Timbaland because I'm getting clear now. That song, I mean, I love that song. I love the raps on it. Why that beat? I want a mix that has everybody. I want to have a mix that has like Jay-Z opening, then she sings, then you have the Ludacris, then you have the Trina, because you only hear the Trina version. Thank you, Jax. You have the Trina version during the video, and then end it off. That song is fire. Number 3, Missy. Okay, that's fine. Everyone can have their opinion. Red.
Hold on. Andrew, I just wanted to share. 1 Minute Man was produced by Daryl Simmons.
Fucking.
Oh, dear.
That was funny.
Yeah, okay. Okay. At least you got a Timbaland on there. Okay. Number 2 for me, I have to always be careful what I say. I was going to say I'm not a big fan of this artist, but I was going to say that in 2000, this, so I mean, you had the track, the producer, the production, you had the music director, and then you had the flow. And Big Pimpin' was just on a just whole new level with that whole Timbaland. And then of course Hype Williams had the sort of letterbox, and he said, I'm gonna go milk with this one. But I listened to it again today with UGK, and the whole flow, and Timbaland was almost like, he was just on fire when he was just doing these kind of the productions at this time. And to give Jay-Z his credit, he knows how to flow when he gets a beat. But this was just fire. As much as I didn't want to. This was the only. I'm looking through. Okay, now I had Nori, and Mystical and Nelly. I didn't realize I had that many hip hop tracks in there. But this was what the late '90s was giving us. It went from R&B to hip hop. But Timbaland and Jay-Z, UGK, Big Pimpin', number 2 for me.
Nice, man.
Yeah. Okay, VJ, what's your second track?
So my number 2 is by Genuine. It's from 96. It samples the Sunday's Life and Soul from 92. It also has 3 other sound effects as samples. This song, when it came out, was so influential. It was just too much. And I listened to this so much. It made it on many, many tapes. I'm talking, and I'm not saying there weren't better songs on the album. There may well have been. I listened to the album a lot. But because of its impact alone, I'm going with Genuine Pony, number 2.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Wow. Quite high up. Okay. Yeah. Stevie, what's number 2 for you?
Number 2, my memories of this track. going back to a record shop in Manchester called Eastern Bloc Records. And I shout to a guy I've not seen for years because he gave me a big DJing opportunity back then, a guy called Errol Phipps. I've not heard or seen him for years. He was serving behind the counter at the time. I went in. I'd actually just got back from my first trip from America. And I went in, and at the time promo 12s were the big thing, and they were all £10 each. They killed you to buy 12-inch for £10 at the time. And I said, "What's in?" And he just said to me, "Steve, I need to take you in the back of the shop because if the other DJs see me selling you these, I'm going to get in. I can't. I'm going to have to." So I ended up going around the back of the shop. He put 2 records in my hand. He went, "I've got this track by Assorted Flavors called Patience." And I listened to it and I was blown away. And the other track he put in my hand, oh my God. I mean, it's probably the only R&B track in the night ever that's got a frog sound in it. It is a classic. It changed the game. It's Genuine Pony, but he put that record in my hand and said, don't even listen to this, Steve. Just buy it. Trust me.
Yeah.
I listened to it anywhere. Oh,
it was that good. It was that good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But that was it. And that was £20 gone out of my, £20 in 1990s. That was a lot. £20 in 1996 was a lot of bleeding, was a lot of money. Spending on records anyway. But there you go.
Yeah,
good choice, man. Okay. Well, good choice to you. Okay. We're both on the same page there.
What about you, Andrew?
All right.
What's
well,
your
my number
favorite?
2 was about dropping bows on them. Basically, there was an album version and a video version, and they basically sound the same. But if you have a keen ear, there are differences in how it's produced or how it's mixed or edited, or whatever. But my number 2 is the final appearance by the Neptunes, and it's Southern Hospitality by Ludacris. I just love that song. I love the way it is. You can dance for banger. It just has energy to it, man. So that boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Throw them bows. Like it's just boom, boom. It's just chaotic, man. So that's it. That is the Neptunes for me finest production as far as the rules go with this. One artist per production duo. So that's my pick.
Yeah, that was in my outside honorable mentions with the Neptunes. I remember the video with Ludacris upside down and stuff. But yes, Southern Hospitality, that was a good one. All right, so I'm going to go through number 15 down to number 1. So I started out with Caught Out There with Khalees by the Neptunes, 99. Get Your Freak On, Timbaland, producing for Missy. Oops Oh My, Timbaland producing for Tweet. Super Thug, the Neptunes for Noriega. Use Your Heart, the Neptunes, SWV. Don't Want to Be a Player, Darkchild for Joe. The Things You Do, Darkchild for Gina Thompson. Shake Your Ass, Neptunes for Mystical. Hard in Here, Neptunes for Nelly. Say My Name, Darkchild, Destiny's Child. He Wasn't Mad Enough for Me, Darkchild, Tony Braxton. What About Us, Timbaland, Total. Are You That Somebody, Timbaland, Aaliyah. Big Pimpin', Timbaland, Jay-Z featuring UGK. So you imagine I got 3 Timbaland tracks in my top 5. But with number 1, they can only be 1. My favorite album by this artist is Share My World. Now that's my favorite Mary J. Blige album.
What did I say, Stevie?
And
what did I say?
This particular track is, it is just so hard hitting, and it doesn't matter when you play it, and the combination of Mary and Missy, and little Kim, and of course Kim was just on another level during this time. She was everywhere. She was hot, but I Can Love You. I mean, when this is Rodney having to compete with all these other producers after Puffy leaves Mary, and he comes out with this, and it is hard hitting. Doom, 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 doom. I can love you better than she. So I Can Love You is my favorite track from these three producers, Darkchild, and it came out in 97, and it's number one.
Oh yeah.
Very good choice.
Very honourable pick there, Namdi. Very honourable pick.
CJ, let's go from 15 down to 1.
Can I read the tracks that didn't make my list now? Is that the time to say it now? The tracks.
It depends on how many you're going to put in there.
How many?
Just let him read them. Let him read them.
There's a lot here. So,
Oh God. I mean,
Timbaland and Kerry Hilson, The Way I Are, should be mentioned. Justin Timberlake, he did so much with both sets of producers. Nelly Furtado, Say It Right, honorable mention. Bubba Sparks, Tweet, Jay-Z, Usher, Player, Timbaland and Magoo, Love to Love You needs a mention. Hot Like Fire remix by Aaliyah, if we were allowed remixes. Missy Elliott, Super Duper Fly, the whole album, fantastic. Babyface, There She Goes, phenomenal. Super Duper Fly, we mentioned. This Is for the Lover remix. Devante Gin and Juice, The Sister, for all the sisters around the world. The Show, The After Party with Jodeci. Britney Spears co-ed remix of Boys, Pharrell, Marilyn Monroe, Kenna, honorable mention to Chad Hugo, incredible production. The Clips, Prince, The Greatest Romance That's Ever Been Sold. The remixes, Khalees, Noriega, Super Thug, Total, When Boy Meets Girl, Blackstreet, Tonight's the Night, Rex and Effect, Rump Shaker, J Quest, Brian McKnight, Stay or Let It Go remix, N-Ton, Can't Stop Thinking, unbelievable Rodney Jerkins production. Dallas Austin and Rodney Jerkins track Brandy and Monica, The Girl Is The Boy Is Mine. Whitney Houston, It's Not Right But It's Okay. Andrea Martin, Let Me Return the Favor. I can't believe nobody has put that in their list.
Awesome track.
Tasha Holiday, Just the Way You Like It. Joe, Don't Want to Be a Player. Simone Hines, Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. Uncle Sam, Baby You Are remixes. To the Extreme, You Got Me Going remix. Twice, Sparkle remix. Aaliyah, Everything's Gonna Be All Right. Horace Brown, Nothing But a Party. Incredible Rodney Jerkins production. Jason Weaver, Stay With Me. Funk Box with Teddy and Rodney for Rex and Effect. Menavision, Do Things remix. Tony Thompson, Handle Our Business was actually produced by Rodney Jerkins, not Dave Hollister. He is not credited on that at all, but Dave Hollister didn't touch it at all. Then you've got Veronica, who Stevie mentioned. Omar Chandler, I Know What's on Your Mind. Hodge, Head Nod. Vanessa Williams, The Way You Love, rhythm remix.
Oh, it's gone through the entire lot, Ace. Right, come on,
two more. All this love.
Okay.
That's it. I'm done. I'm finished. That was it. That's it.
You got them all in. You got them all in.
So, 15 down to 1. 15 down to 1.
Indulging me. Number 15, Blackstreet, Jennifer Lopez, If You Had My Love. Number 13, Get Your Freak On by Missy Elliott. Number 12, Justin Timberlake, Like I Love You. Casey and JoJo, Game Face, number 11. SWV, Use Your Heart at number 10. Number 9, Mary J. Blige, I Can Love You. NERD, Bobby James. Number 7, Intro, Strung Out on Your Loving. Number 6, Debasement, Love You Down. Aaliyah at number 5, If Your Girl Only Knew. Number 4, Sister, featuring Mary J. Blige and Casey Haley and Virginia Williams, Feel of Your Lips. Old ODB featuring Khalees, Got Your Money at number 3. Genuine Pony at number 2. And my number 1 is a track from 2002. It's been sampled in 20 songs. There's a version of it with just Charlie Wilson singing it, which is absolutely stunning, with different hook, different chorus, different everything. But Snoop Dogg and Charlie Wilson's Beautiful is my number 1 because it means a lot to me. I have good memories of listening to that in Rio de Janeiro and other things. It's a magical song. That's my number 1.
No, that's a good choice.
Yeah. I just want you now. Sorry, love it.
Nice.
That's my lot.
Good. Stevie.
I'll only mention 2 things that didn't make my 15, and nobody's mentioned them. Night could surprise me yet, but no one's talked about this group, Player.
Yeah.
Oh, dearie me. And J Quest. Let's not forget him. J Quest. Yeah. Right. Number 15, LL Cool J, Love You Better. Number 14, Keith Sweat, I Put You On. Timbaland and Maganu, 2 great rappers there. Not Love to Love You. Number 12, Khalees, Good Stuff. Number 11, Veronica, Without Love. Number 10, Total, What About Us. Number 9, Intro, Strung Out on Your Loving. Number 8, Menavision, Instant Love. Number 7, 702 Star. Number 6, Usher, You Don't Have to Call. Number 5, SWV, Can We? Number 4, Mystical, Shake Your Ass. Number 3, Joe, Don't Want to Be a Player. Number 2, Genuine, Pony. Number 1, Teddy Riley changed the game with New Jack Swing, and I didn't think it could be changed again, R&B, but it was in 1996. When I first heard this record, when I was in the US for the first time, cruising along in a car, and I just heard this beat structure in the record that I'd never heard before. And when I heard it, I thought, it's changed. From now on, the game, this is it. This is the moment that R&B production has changed. And I wasn't wrong, because it did. It changed completely after this. Aaliyah, 1 in a Million, is my number 1 record. Easily my number 1 out of all of that. The whole thing changed after that, just for that one record alone. I'm amazed none of you have picked it. I'm stunned. None of you picked that record. But that isn't, what a classic. Even Gen Z are all over that now. They're all over Aaliyah. Anyway, carry on, Andrew Knight.
All right. Well, I'll just say this. So I think that my music knowledge really, like my core music knowledge, is like 87 to 2002. That's number 1. Number 2, because I feel like these producers are super commercial, in my opinion. Like, that's why all of my picks are the more commercial ones. Number 3, the 1 song per artist per producer rule is why 1 in a Million. Why gave it away? Anyways, I'm alone, so I almost gave it away. I give it away almost, but you know who it is now at number 1. But anyway, that said, let's just go with the top 15. So number 15 for me was Holler, Spice Girls, Laugh It Off. Number 14, Break It Down, Michael Jackson. Number 13, Say It Right. However, had I remembered Can We, it would.
No, you changed that to Invincible.
Oh, that's right, Invincible for number 14. But yeah, so number 14. Number 13 would have been Can We, but it's Say It Right here. Number 12, Lap Dance by NERD, 2002. Pass the Courvoisier with Baby Oil at number 11. Slave for You, Britney, number 10. Don't Go to the Sky, Community, number 9. Number 8, I Can Love You, Mary J. Blige. Number 7, Big Pimpin' Jay-Z. Number 6, Pony, Genuine. Number 5, Grindin' by Clips. Number 4, Something About You by New Edition Remix, Controversy. Number 3, 1 Minute Man, Missy Elliott. Number 2, Southern Hospitality, Ludacris. And number 1 is a song that I think there was nothing like it now, and there's nothing like it afterwards. It was on the soundtrack to Romeo Must Die. And the actual, the beat was faster. The bass line was just very, it almost slinked around like a snake. And then you had the video featuring Jet Li. She's got the eyeshadow. She's got the dancers. And at the end, she's got the canes. And then you got Timbaland saying, it's been a long time. Should left you without a dope beat to step to. Step, 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 step two. Step, 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 step two. Boom, boom, bump, bump, bump. At number 1, the most unique and the pinnacle, I think, of this man's career at the start of the millennium, Timbaland with Missy at Try Again. And I didn't see Try Again mentioned anywhere. I think I saw it once in the comments. But for me, there's just something about that song. I got sick of it. It was everywhere. I mean, it got played so often, even on pop stations, like, yeah, Try Again, Britney, NSYNC, Backstreet, Try Again. But when Try Again came out in the spring of 2000, and it was new, I thought it was like some Star Trek shit. It was just so next level.
Mind-bending. Absolutely mind-bending.
Yeah. You guys get the picture. I just had to give it some fucking sauce. So that's
and that's why it when Aaliyah passed, it was so devastating, because you knew she was on the cusp. She was on the cusp after that. I had to pull it when I first heard that. It was premiered on like a Radio 1 show that evening, and I had to pull the car over. I'm like, what is this? What is this?
Incredible. if that's not validity for your number one choice, Andrew, I don't know what it is. You know, when somebody needs to pull over the car because I do to
but I know
that.
Yeah, it was just so different at the time, and I have good memories, man. It reminds me of visiting New York for the first time. That was a big hit in New York. It was March 2000. So, thank you all for listening.
When I look at my list, in my top 10, it was mainly I had 5 Darkchild tracks in my top 10, and 3 Timbaland and 2 Neptunes. But in my top 5, it was 3 Timbaland and 2 Neptunes. So there were the Timbaland tracks. I mean, there was a variety of them that I really did like. But as I said, I Can Love You was
I felt Neptune got a bit one-trick pony in the end. I thought Rodney Jerkins had a solid R&B sound. Didn't change anything, but it was just a solid R&B sound. But I felt Timbaland, he just kept changing.
He had like 3
miles
phases.
ahead. He's miles ahead now. Everyone's getting on him about AI, but again, he's ahead of the game. He's ahead of the game again. He's already,
Yeah. I mean, it's when we did this, the same thing when we did our Teddy, Jimmy, and LA and Babyface. It wasn't about picking who was the best out of the 3, and even with this one, it's just acknowledging that they really had a vast catalog, and just like the predecessors that we looked at, they all knew each other, respected each other, and they all were competing on the charts at the same time, which is if anyone follows tennis, Djokovic, Federer, and Nadal, 3 greats all battling at the same time, and that's what these guys were doing. They were just pushing each other as that second generation round of producers. And the thing is that, well, apart from the Neptunes, the others are still making music now. So definitely was definitely a very long and good
failed
list.
at doing, and he tried to do Afro beats. Didn't work at all. That you should have left that one alone. Well, at least he tried. He try. You know what I mean? It's like there's been quite a lot of American producers try to do Afro beats. You can't. Just get the Nigerians.
No one put "Rock My World" in their top 15. Was there a reason? Because The Boy Is Mine. No one put those 2 tracks.
It's in the main list. It's in there.
No, but I'm talking about among the 3 of the 4. No one put "Rock My World" or "The Boy Is Mine." Huh?
It was an option. But I think Rodney's done better work than the stuff he's done with Michael. And
what about "The Boy Is Mine," which was a massive track?
Yeah.
Brandy and
But
Monica.
then you mentioned this earlier about combining producers, like, you were joking about it, but that was a Rodney and Dallas Austin combination. So it was 2 producers. It wasn't just Rodney Jerkins. It was.
No, Rodney did the track, but Monica's versions were done by Dallas, but it was mainly his stuff. He talks about how he came up with the whole thing.
I had a chat with Dallas about the song a couple of years ago. He said the same thing the other way around. He said that he was very prominent on that. But then I don't know. What do you say? I mean, we weren't there, so we don't know. But I give the credit to both of them. I think they're both incredible producers. They smashed it.
Okay, go ahead with your
So I'm not going to share the entire list. There's over 150 songs that were submitted. So I'm going to do the top 30 only. Okay. So Jay-Z featuring Beyonce, Part 2, On the Run. That was number 30. Number 29, Aaliyah, If Your Girl Only Knew. Number 28, Aaliyah, Heartbroken. Number 27, Grinding by The Clips. Number 26, SWV, Can We? 25, New Edition, Something About You. 24, Mystical, Shake Your Ass. 23, Sister, Feel of Your Lips. 22, Genuine, Same Old G. 21, Missy Elliott, 1 Minute Man. Number 20, Missy Elliott, Beat Me 911. 19, 702, Star. 18, Ludacris, Southern Hospitality. Number 17, Nelly, Hot in Here. Number 16, Destiny's Child, Cater to You. Number 15, Michael Jackson, Unbreakable. Number 14, Aaliyah, Try Again. Number 13, Justin Timberlake, Sexy Back. Number 12, Jay-Z, Big Pimpin'. Number 11, Snoop Dogg featuring Charlie Wilson, Beautiful. Number 10, Brandy, Angel in Disguise. Yep. Number 9, Britney Spears, I'm a Slave for You.
Woohoo!
Number 8, SWV, Use Your Heart. Number 7, ODB and Khalees, Got Your Money.
Wow.
Number 6, Mary J. Blige, I Can Love You.
Nice.
Number 5, Intro, Strung Out on Your Loving. Number 4, Joe, Don't Want to Be a Player. Number 3, Aaliyah, One in a Million. Number 2, Usher, You Don't Have to Call.
Wow.
Number 1, Timbaland, Rules the Roost with Genuine Pony.
Yeah, there it is.
I was pretty close there. I was pretty close in that top 5 again.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, your list was very, very close to that, man.
You know, it's funny. We didn't really talk about. I remember because again, we all lived it, right? So on that 100% Genuine album, there was like a lot of skits, and one of the skits talked about, you know, an interviewer was interviewing Timbaland. What do you think about these people who are like trying to imitate you? You know, and Tim like, yeah, I call them they're beat biters, but they're also motivators and haters, whatever. And I remember at that time, it was almost as if like when Genuine said that song Toe to Toe, where you don't got what it takes, it was almost like, yeah, I'm gonna make you wanna. He says that. So Genuine's going after Usher on that album. And I feel like Timbaland was going after Rodney on that album. Personally, I could be wrong, but I do think it was a playful beef, but it was still there. So I know there's some discussion in the comments on like, oh, was anyone trying to copy Timbaland? And I think that for the most part, if you are, I'll just say it, for the most part, I would say yes. I don't think it was just a matter of opinion. I do think that Timbaland absolutely made the whole stutter staccato thing happen. And I think what Rodney brought to the table was it was very melodic. So whereas Timbaland was more beat oriented, Rodney would take that kind of staccato beat, but then add like a melody to it. And that's how you got a song like Say My Name, or even like The Boy Is Mine. Instead of making the beats like percussive, he would make the actual keys percussive and go up and down. So anyway, I just think they all did really well. They all kind of formed their identities. But I'll also say, and I said this earlier, so I'm just saying it for the benefit of the podcast, I think Rodney evolved in that he was good at taking what was around him, whether it was taking that bad boy sound and making a song like I Can Love You, or hearing what happened on One in a Million and then applying that to like a song like The Boy Is Mine. You know, I think that he was able to just kind of read the tea leaves and make it his own. And I think with the Michael Jackson album, that might have been the closest thing to kind of his own sound, because that was the same sound you heard on Holler. It was the same sound you heard on NSYNC's Celebrity album. And everything before that was probably a different sound. So that's the end of my monologue. But I think Timbaland is not overrated. I think Timbaland absolutely should be celebrated as someone who was an influential trailblazer in music.
For sure, man.
Yeah, and I think they all are. You know, and it's somehow hard to celebrate Timbaland without also including Missy, because they were definitely a dynamic duo together. But that said, you know, we celebrate. You know, we're not here picking.
We're totally all three. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We're definitely celebrating all three, and that's the beauty of what we're doing. So, guys, we will when we do volume 3 and get another set of producers, it's going to be the same thing. So we you know, out of respect, we're not going to rate which is our favorite out of them. But volume 3 will coming up later in the summer, and it'll be interesting to see how that will go. But it's been a good 2.5 hours. Final reflections, VJ, Stevie, and then Andrew.
I was going to say this is the halfway point. We've just got another 2.5 hours to go now. We've got lots to discuss. So I hope you're tuned in and get your cocoa or whatever you want to get, and we'll get back. Just wanted to say thank you everybody for joining. It's been a great podcast. It's been very hard. This was a very tough one to do. I found it very difficult, and I think that's because I think you can do a podcast on each of these producers
by themselves,
comfortably, and there's a lot of music to cover. I don't think one podcast per producer is enough. They're that good. But yeah, it's a great choice again, Nnamdi. Thanks. And yeah, that's it. Cheers.
Okay, Stevie.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it this evening, but I hope on the next podcast for producers we get more closer to the New Jack Swing era or mid-90s, and But I've enjoyed this one. Like you said, there's a lot of crossover on this one. A lot of crossover into. I won't mention them, but But that's it. I'm done. I'm done this evening.
Yeah, I'll just say it was great. But I always think kind of macro as well. So this is the last time that we're going to be on a podcast before the three of us, as in Stevie, VJ, and myself, are all going to be at the same place at the same time in New Jersey.
Can you let people know where you guys are going to next week?
Yeah, we're going to the the Rock the Bell Prudential Center Rock the Bell Festival, Prudential. And it's going to be a class reunion of the Uptown crew taking place there. So that was a good enough reason for the old crew to get the band back together. We may do some, interviews. We may do some broadcasts, some podcasts from there. Who knows? But it's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, so it's going to be Rock the Bells, also DJF's Untouchable. So So intro, Donnell.
World War III while we're out there. You know what I mean? So
yeah. But guys, for for everyone in the comments, always remember that the show is partly us and mostly you guys, because as you're putting in the comments, we're all reading them, we're all taking part of them. None of us is using baby oil this evening, but we're enjoying. It is part of the whole thing that you guys
do mention tomorrow night.
It's always important that you guys remember that the comments and stuff is part of the show. So we always appreciate you guys taking part in this. Definitely a long one. And yes, tomorrow it's Joe, All That I Am, and we will also be looking in July for Volume 3. We'll discuss the next round of producers, and then we'll put that out as well. But for the four of us, thanks again for you guys for enjoying with us for the last 2.5 hours. Remember that we celebrate and we don't discriminate. So it's been great. It's been fun. And we'll definitely see you guys next time. Take care.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that category.
Somewhere in between.
Or even loving us, on which I didn't miss you.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.